We're doing a Zoom recording right now.
Right. I should. That's wants to voice record the whole thing, so or are you going to
So we have like 20 in a row there? All the windows are crazy.
We were late. We were at the drive-thru.
Did you just say that? Oh, yeah. Like 2 years ago, I told my buddy,
I didn't even know you could pause it.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me? All right. Well, let's. All right, guys, we're gonna.
We open this window. Okay. That's good. I was just trying to close it. I'm putting the AC on.
You look kind of buffer. Do it?
For me,
I hope you're recording this so we can watch it.
Steve debates flexing. I love it. All right, so we want to open this up and let Craig welcome everyone in and kind of get started off from there.
so welcome to my house, first of all. I'm concerned because, you know, we're a bunch of adults here. It's Saturday morning. You guys should be asleep. I mean, last night was your time to party, drink, you know, eat fat food. Oh, wait a second. We're talking to health coaches here, right? Absolutely. So I'm excited that you all made the trip down here to Long Beach, okay? You know, Jamil and I and Justin and Karen are going to just go over some things that, you know, I think will add value to what you're currently doing. For those of you that have never actually had a business of your own, we're going to kind of dive into that as well, and the differences between, you know, what having a home-based network marketing business and a regular traditional business is. And so I think we're just going to have a good time, okay? And you guys all scoped out where the restrooms are. There's 2 restrooms over that direction there. And I will just leave it to my guy who 4 years ago, June 2013, I got on this program, and my daughter was the one who basically said, Dad, you need to do something or you're not going to see your grandson grow up. And what was cool is that Jamil actually was working out at the CrossFit, and my daughter was his CrossFit coach. And like a good health coach, guess what he was doing? He was posting before and after photos, and my daughter, you know, he had friended my daughter, and she's looking at all this stuff. And it was really tough on my daughter. I mean, she was a CrossFit coach for 7 years, very fit, and had morbidly obese parents. So it was just a blessing that it all came together. And so here we are. All right, buddy, you're on.
All right.
All right. Yes.
Oh, sure.
Does that help?
Yes.
Is that all right?
Thank you. Perfect.
Cool.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Craig.
I think it can.
Just because the
Do we
recording's
need
gonna be dark.
Okay, that's fine. So, it is really good to see everyone. Thank you guys for coming out. And Craig, thank you for allowing us to use your house. Craig and I were driving out to the Monrovian maybe about a month ago, and we're just talking about how can we start to build more of a community, start to cultivate more leaders, start to get a lot of the higher level coaches, how can we start to get them together and start to feed off of the energy and things like that. And he was nice enough to open up his house. He says, you know, well, why don't we do something in my place, and we're just going to use that day to bond together, to have fellowship, to really learn how to grow this business. And just from that thought, here it is. But isn't that how really success works? You have a thought, you have a vision, and it really starts from the way that you think, and then all of a sudden you say, okay, well, we're going to do it, and then you end up with 30, 40 of the brightest minds in one house. So today we're going to have a ton of fun. You guys have all been invited here for a reason. There's a lot of people that wanted to come and didn't necessarily get an invitation, and that's okay. They're on their journey, and I'm sure at some point they'll make it in. But I'm really excited for this group here. This group is a group that's really going to help us do some amazing things. I think a lot of you guys have some really big goals for yourselves, for your families, for people that are around you. And I think today is really going to be the start of us really diving in, making certain decisions. And then we're going to roll on into National Convention. And then the month of August is going to be crazy. September is already a huge month. So we have some really big things planned. So just a couple housekeeping things. We are going to have lunch after this. So please stay. Amanda is going to start the cooking process, so make sure to thank her. So she'll start cooking around 11. Craig told you where the bathrooms are, so if you need to use it. We have drinks that are outside. So that should take care of that. But just sit back and have fun. This is gonna be a higher level training, so we're not gonna sugarcoat things. I can tell you that right now. If you have questions, make sure to have them answered before you leave, and just have a ton of fun, man. I mean, this is what this is all about. So I think what we'll do is let's kind of start off, but by just going around and let's introduce ourselves. How many of you guys, this is kind of your first time meeting a lot of the other coaches? How many of you guys, any brand new people here? Okay, Cynthia, Carrie, Evangeline. Okay, cool. So why don't we start with just kind of going around, say who you are, maybe whose group you're in, how long you've been coaching, and then that way we get to meet you a little bit. So let's start with Nancy.
Thanks, Janelle.
So she's a beauty queen. That's why I always mention her. Like, for real, I don't just say that. Like, she really is.
Let it go. Let it go, Janelle.
No, anytime I get to be around the beauty queen, man, I mean,
My name is Nancy Thompson. I've lost 103 pounds. I'm in Garrett's line with Sherry and Dave Martinson, and there you go.
okay.
Oliver, coaching 4 years with my son, Justin, Jamil, Karen, I'm in that line.
Good deal. So maybe we'll go around that way and work our way. So Dave?
I'm Dave Martinson.
Awesome.
Thank
Is Sherry gonna take that second part? Okay, cool. All right, Justin.
My name's Justin Abia. I've been coaching a little over 4.5 years now.
Awesome. Nice.
I've been coaching since November.
Okay. Or maybe for you guys. So y'all, or I guess you guys can see them or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I know.
It's
all right.
Cool. Okay. Greg, you guys met. About you, Lisa.
Lisa Perez. I'm in Tony Brown's team and I'm coaching in September, which I think is 10 months.
We'll go with
I
it.
try to count. Amy, I'm on Tony Brownie's team and I've been coaching a year now.
All right. Christy.
I am Christy McKee. I know Justin, and they've been coaching a little over 2 years.
All right.
And I'm Sherry Martinson, and we've been coaching for over 2.5 years in Garrett. I'm Becky Flamong, and my coach is Karen Elstrom, and I've been coaching for 5.5 years.
Nice. Josh Bumba, we are 4 days short of a year, and our uplines Justin and Jamil. Greg McDonald, I've been coaching for about 2.5 years, and my coach, you guys might have heard of him, Jamil.
Eric, we've been coaching for a little over 2.5 years now. Thanks, coach. It's great.
I'm Jessica.
Ditto. All right.
Hi, I'm Evangeline, and I started coaching about 2.5 years ago, but I left, and then I came back. December 2016 with Emily and Chuck.
Where do you live?
I originally lived in Santa Monica, but I left to live on the ship the past 2 years. So now I'm in San Francisco, and that's where we're rocking out.
Bay Area.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I've been coaching since November, and I'm on Natalie Wilson and Janelle Steve. I've lost 103 pounds.
That's cool,
Hey
man.
everybody, I'm Dominic Pizarro. We've been coaching my wife and I for
I'm
it's
just
over
gonna
3
sound
years,
irony.
and now over 3 years, and we're back to Jamil Frazier.
All right, Karen.
I'm Karen Elstrom. I've been coaching almost 8 years in November.
Wow.
And my coach is Kim Post. You may have heard of Just a little.
I'm JC Sanchez, and I've been coaching for a little over 2 years now, and actually 3 years in November. And I'm Craig's Latin son. We all
I know. Really, you should be in the family pictures. That's so great, man. Cool, man. All right, Cynthia.
Hi everyone, I'm Cynthia Zapakechian. This is my 3rd month coaching. Everyone's been here for a while, and I hope I get there. Don't give up and stay. So I could just come in and say I've been coaching for 2-3 years. And this is Sophie, and I'll be joining the AZ team soon. We're moving to Arizona in 6 months, so
Nice.
So,
Yeah, there's a big group out
yeah, there's a big group out there. Yeah.
there. You want to say hi again, Rose?
Oh, no, hi.
It's Rose.
You're talking on a date,
It's
right?
3 years this month, right? Yes.
We have to talk a little louder for the Zoom too.
Yes.
Oh,
All right.
Zoom?
Jesse.
I'm Jesse J. Navarrete.
Hey, you got some competition over there.
I don't like that.
I'm direct to Bernardo and Jamil, and I've been coaching June 20th, 2014 when I started.
All right, Monica.
Monica Villarreal.
I've
been coaching for about 1.5 years, and I'm under Stacy and Tommy.
All right.
I'm Nicole Streaker.
That was good.
I've been coaching for about 2.5 years, and I am direct to Dulce and Janelle.
I'm Yasmin Dubuski. I'm not going to try to say it fancy. I'm Bamba Vini Frazier, and then I've been coaching for 11, almost 11. It'll be 11.
Okay. All right.
I'm Desiree Gomez. I'm coaching with John DeBay, and we are part of Justin's team.
I love it. We heard from Paula already.
Hi, Amanda.
And Amanda. Who are you?
My mentor coach is Karen Elstrom.
Yeah.
And kind of this guy.
Cool, man. So, like I said, we're going to have a ton of fun. Make sure that you guys meet everyone before you leave. And the power of what we have is this, honestly. This sort of business is extremely powerful because of this. We have all of this knowledge to pull from for free, which is kind of crazy. So, a big part of today is going to be how to change your mindset and how to start to build a structured business, how to have a sponsoring mindset, and how to move out of the mindset of what a lot of us were conditioned to do, which is to think linear and to think like employees and start to think like CEOs of our businesses. And that's going to be really important for us to launch into the next couple of years and for us to become the leaders that I think we want to become. So we're going to have a ton of fun. So take a lot of notes and make sure, again, and I keep saying this, make sure that before you leave, if you have any questions, make sure to have those questions answered. So for those of you guys, I'm sure everyone kind of knows my story, but I started coaching about 5 years ago, not thinking at all that I would do much with this. I'm not necessarily sure that I was the easiest person to mentor, right, Karen? And you know, I had a lot of struggles. I had a lot of struggles. There's a lot of nights I was really frustrated. I didn't sleep for a long time, like literally didn't sleep for a long time. But I wanted more, and I had a vision, a big time vision. I still have a big time vision, and it keeps evolving. Is really starting to go globally what my vision is. But it was a process, and it was breaking through a lot of barriers, mental barriers at that. And so I know that in order to get to where I think some of you guys want to get to, hopefully all of you guys want to get to, there's going to be a lot of challenges along the way. And so we're really going to start off with figuring out how to switch our minds. And as we start to change our minds, then everything will get easier. And as we start to realize that some of these frustrations that come up are generally come up because it's going to catapult you to get to where you actually want to get to. And I didn't know that at first, so I would murmur and I would whine and I would cry and I would play below the lines a lot in my life. And then I started to realize that those same struggles were to actually catapult me if I could find the pearls of wisdom. And so many people will complain about it and not actually find the pearls of wisdom. So I want to start out today, you know, for me, I would not be where I am right now without having the mentorship and the tutelage from one Mrs. Karen Elstrom. So she's going to be the first one to share with us on really how to start to change our minds and our mindsets. And so I want to introduce you guys to her.
Stand here for a second because now I'm going to talk about you.
Okay. Well, we better come over here.
Oh. This is like the worst angle for a woman. It needs to be up there.
Right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Talk to our
Like for the guys, they can look cheeks up.
Love it, man.
Let me make sure. Okay.
You're not going to start crying, right?
No, I hope not. I'm really going to try not to start crying. But what I want to say about Jamil is most of you knew him as successful, right? Like you come in and you're like, wow, he is amazing. And he is amazing. And he's very successful. But it didn't start off like that. He did whine a lot. He did want to quit a lot. He did tell me this wasn't working. He did say, why aren't you doing this for me? Right? Does he ever do it for any of you?
We wish he would.
Exactly. So what I love about him is he was willing to do it anyway, right? And sometimes it was a struggle. Yeah. And he'd say no, and then he'd be, oh, and I talked to him the next day, and he'd say,
once I friended you back.
Yeah, oh yeah, he unfriended me. So we started. He didn't like what I said. No, he didn't like what Kim and I said. So I went to send him a message one day, like the day after we had a three-way conversation with Kim. In fact, after a three-way conversation with Kim was at my house, and she was in the other room, right? And Jamil's vision, can I tell this story?
Sure.
It's so fun. So Jamil's vision of our three-way call was he was going to be telling us, especially Kim, how darn amazing he was. And how he knew lots of doctors, and he was just gonna kick this thing out of the park, right?
Yeah.
And so Kim did most of the talking, and Kim's like,
she didn't like that idea.
If you've heard Kim before, it's like, unless you have a doctor's cell phone number, don't be trying to enroll, just go to offices and enroll them, because it's a house of cards, right? They're not thinking in a coaching way. They're thinking in product in their office. So Kim let Jamel know in no uncertain terms how that was just a house of cards and he didn't want to do that. In fact, it was pretty direct, so much so that when we hung up, she came into the room I was in and she's like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I don't think you'll ever want me to do a three-way call with you again. So it honestly really wasn't too surprising that when I went to send Jamel a message, he didn't show up on my Facebook page. I'm like, what the heck? He unfriended me. So we jumped through that hurdle, right?
Yeah.
After lots of conversation. And what I love about Jamel, and this is such a great lesson for everyone in here, and for me, and for everyone, is he is willing to take a look at his struggles and the challenges and figure out and do it anyway. Does that make sense? It's like, yeah, this isn't easy, and Karen, you should be doing this for me, and why aren't you? And I saw you do more three-way calls with that person than me, and it's like, and what did I say? It's like, get over yourself.
Multiple times.
And he would be mad at me, but you know what? I love this man, and I am so. This is really important. I'm so proud of him because way back then I didn't know if he was going to do anything, right? Because when you start, you're kid fire, and then when you're whining a lot, it's like I did not know. It was like I wonder, but I saw such potential in him. I knew if and when he made the decision that he would be amazing. Don't you have a lot of people like that you know, and some will and some won't? And he would study. And you know what he did? He started working harder on himself than anything else. And, you know, I didn't understand when he would say, you know, I studied this book last night, or I studied motivational speaker, or he studies people. And when I understood what he does, like he studies them, he sees what they do, he sees their outcome, he sees what different successful people have in common, right? Yeah. And then you emulate that. Just like in our business. When I first started, it's like I looked to see who was successful, and I know you did too, and it's like, wow, I want what they're doing, so I need to do what they're doing if I want to create success, because it's already proven. Right? It's already a result that we know can happen if we work at it. And so he has chosen to take that and run with it. And what's really cool, I mean, you know, I think when you're successful, people look at you like, oh, wow, he's so successful. I could probably never be as successful as Jamil is. I could probably do something. That's how I felt when I started with Kim, right? I don't think I could ever be that successful, but I could probably do a little bit. But you thought the same thing. No, you didn't think the same thing. Once you started, you were like, I want to do that. It was a mindset for you. And you were going to do everything you needed to do that.
I just believe that you've done. I've seen enough people that
yes.
have done it for that.
Yes. And you want to believe and do what you see and do it anyway, even though, once again, our mind, right? I loved the banner for this event. Mm. The sky, no.
Yeah. It was like,
the sky is not the limit, the mind is. Something like that, right? And isn't that true? It's like it is our mind, and we're going to talk about that. But I'm really proud of you. I think you're amazing. And I'm glad that you have given up on me doing your business for you. I'm very proud. So happy. Darn. Okay. That's the couch podcast. All right. So I really love this topic because this is near and dear to me, and I feel so passionate about it because I've seen the shifts that have happened when we take care of negative thoughts in our head, right? So my goal for this few minutes that I have left to spend with you is to give you some tools that you can put to work immediately today. We're going to do some practicing and have some fun with each other, and maybe you guys too. Put them to work, because honestly, when you learn this technique, it can change your business. And the technique is called red light, green light thinking. Have you heard about red light? Who has not heard of red light, green light thinking? Okay, good. So what would you imagine red light thinking is? Red light thinking are thoughts that stop you from moving forward. They're thoughts that will not serve you in building your business. They're thoughts like you're getting ready to call someone and it's like, oh, no, they don't want to hear from me. They're going to think I'm weird. They don't need this. Anyone ever have any of those thoughts when you? Yeah, I think so, right? So any thought that you have, and we have them on a daily basis, probably hourly, right? When we're building our business, and what we want to do is learn how to shift those thoughts from red light to green light. Green light, thoughts that serve you and serve what it is you want. So when we talk about everything we talk about today, this is what I love about our business. This is like everything about our life, right? It is our personal life, it's our business life, it creates better relationships. Someone said one time, this isn't a weight loss company, this is a personal development company disguised as a weight loss company. But now we're really not even a weight loss company. We are a company to make our lives better, an optimal life. And one of the biggest things, and I promise you this will make a difference, it's made a difference in my life, it's made a difference in Jamel's life, and I know many of you in here when you get this technique down. So, red light thinking, thoughts that do not serve your goals, that do not serve where you want to be. And don't we all have huge goals? If you don't have a huge goal that scares you, create another one that does. Create a goal for yourself that you don't really even know right now that you can hit, because once you do that, you'll believe it. So red light thinking will keep you from hitting those goals. Has anyone had that thought? Like you go to make a phone call, anything. And it could even just be something about yourself in your personal life. Oh, I'm not good at that, or I can never make that happen, or anything negative about yourself. Oftentimes we say things to ourselves about ourselves that we would never tell our best friend. We would never say to our worst enemy. Isn't that true? So when you have a red light thought, anything that doesn't serve you, you want to switch it immediately to a green light thought, green light thinking. Well, how do I do that? And this is where the steps are so simple, but it's not always easy. But I can tell you, if you put this into practice, you will make such a huge impact in your life and others around you. So you have a red light thought. Doesn't matter what it is, anything that doesn't serve you. The first thing you're going to go is don't beat yourself up for having it, because now you're going to be aware. What I like to think of is I have a dog that's in training, and we have a little collar for her that just is a vibration. And anytime she does something that she knows she's not supposed to, it's just like a little zzz, and it helps her remember. So what I want you to think about is anytime you have a red light thought, now you remember, just think of exactly, not shock, just a reminder, right? Some people, I was going to say, yeah, some people do a little rubber band on your wrist. Whatever you need to help you remember, all right? So immediately then you'll go, isn't that interesting my mind went there? Not negative. Isn't that interesting my mind went there? How can I make this thought a green light thought? How can I turn this thought into something that will serve me? And then you're going to do it right then in the moment. I don't care what you're doing. If you're driving, if you're alone, say it out loud. Okay? Like have this conversation, if you're by yourself or whoever, if you don't care who's listening, have a conversation with yourself about it. Isn't that interesting that I had that thought? Now, how can I make that a green light thought that serves what it is that I want? Okay? Then your mind will never hold limitations. And this is what happens. When you do it every single time, and you're going to be really surprised at how often something comes up that keeps you from moving forward. Go, isn't that interesting? There it is. It's your chatter. It's the lie. And that's just it. Because it is never true. Right? Isn't it so interesting how we make up how we think someone's going to feel if we call them? Right? Oh, no, they don't want to hear from me. No, they won't be interested in this. Really? They're going to think I'm weird. How do you know what they think? We don't know anything, right? So how can we change that to a thought that will serve us? Oh, my gosh, they're going to be so excited to hear from me. They've been waiting for something that can enhance their life, whether it's healthy finances, healthy mind, healthy body. Okay? So that's what you're going to want to do. Every time that happens, in that minute, don't wait and don't go, oh, I won't do it on this one. I'll wait for the next one. Because you will so train your brain that I can tell you now, I've been doing it for such a long time, that it just happens instantaneously. Do I have those thoughts? Yes, but immediately it changes. And what you'll find too is you'll be able to pay that forward to your family, your friends, your coaches, your clients, because you're going to start hearing things differently. And you're going to think about how you can turn their conversations or their thoughts into green light thinking as well. Like if you have a client, you know, that is struggling with something, and you can ask them, so how could we change that so those thoughts about whatever it is you're telling me about serve you more? Does that make sense? So what I'd like to do a little bit here, because practice is everything, right? Let's throw out, and we're all family and friends, and it doesn't matter, or maybe you want to tell one on a friend, right? So what I'd like to do is just do some practicing on some red light thoughts that you may have or you've come across, and then as a group, let's figure out how to make those into green light thoughts, okay? So who wants to share something that comes up for them? Anyone? Josh.
My coach is down $1,500, you know, but I don't want to call him because I don't know if they're going to think I'm trying to bug them. This is their business. But then on the other hand, maybe they don't want to bug me, so me reaching out to them is what's going to push them, you know, or help them get to their next one.
Wow, that's kind of exhausting. Okay, so do you want to change that to a green light thought right now? What could be a green light thought?
Oh, the second part was green light.
Okay, so say your green light thought then so everyone can hear that.
Well, the green light thought was, you know, maybe my coach is waiting for me to call him because he doesn't know what to do or he doesn't want to bug me. He knows that I have 20 other people that I'm trying to help, so he doesn't want to waste my time.
How about even making it shorter? How about eliminating the word maybe? And my coach is looking forward to my call. End of it. Because when we get into all the story, do you notice like when we try and justify, we get into a story, right? Anyone, that happen to anyone? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but, so I would say make it way shorter. And I think that's a great example because we all have those examples. Like, oh, I don't want to call him, I don't want to bug him. So that's your red light thinking. Your green light thought is, he's looking forward to my call. Because you know, you don't have to say all that as in your thought, but you know how you can serve him. Okay, is that helpful? Okay. Anyone else want to share? Jessica. Oh, I'm sorry.
When a coach goes MIA, it's like, oh, they're upset at me, they don't want to do this, or you know, whatever. But maybe there's stuff going on in their life that whole like, I don't want to hug them, or you know, too much.
Yeah, that is such a good one. Don't we all have that a lot? Could everyone hear her? She doesn't want to bug them if they go MIA. It's like, well, maybe something's going on. So what would be a green light thought? How could you change that?
They are looking forward to my call.
Exactly. They are looking forward to my call. They can't wait to hear from me. They're afraid to, you know, because the truth is, like, make a new truth, because you don't even know, right? You just made all that up. It's a lie. Yeah. The truth could be they're afraid to call you because they're embarrassed, right?
Yeah.
So see how you can switch it to, wow, they're excited to hear from me. I can hardly wait to call them. Okay, another one.
I have one like with family.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because I feel like the relationships over time become the same.
Yes, I agree.
had a situation with my stepmom that she sent a text and maybe I read too far into it and I got angry and I fired back. So rather than thinking it through how I could appease the situation, we all know texting gets misconstrued. Yeah. But my instinct was unhappy. Why is she doing this to make me mad?
Mm-hmm. Anyone else ever have those thoughts? Why are they doing this to me? To make me mad? I mean, how rude. Okay, that's good. That's a good example.
And I cried for hours probably before I even figured out a solution to the problem. And the solution was, well, maybe I misread it. Like maybe this is just a form of miscommunication. Call her. you know, you're not going to bug her. You're not going to cause any confrontation or anything. I think sometimes we go through this with struggling clients or struggling coaches, and it kind of, like I said, it kind of bleeds over. Maybe they're angry or they're frustrated, and we're taking it the wrong way when really it just takes that voice to voice because we need to hear from each other.
Yes, and that is a really, really good point. Texting, email, that is a terrible way to have any kind of, other than very superficial. Yeah, don't we all read into it? I mean, I find myself, not anymore because I've changed it, but I have to work at it. I would find myself, if I were to read it out loud, I was reading the text, and I'll bet you did this on this one. I was reading the text out loud in the tone of voice I thought they had.
Yes, I was.
Right? And you're probably like, wow, listen to her. That was just nasty, wasn't it? And so what does that do to us? It's like, oh, I want to fight her. How dare she do that? And honestly, I can tell you this because we've all had those experiences. And then you go, hey, you have a conversation, and no one meant any harm at all. It's our interpretation. Avoid texting conversations unless they're, hey, how are you doing? Hope you have a great day, right? Because we always read them in our tone of voice. And if you do receive a text, remember that. Like as you start to read it like all snotty, right? Say, no, this isn't how they meant it. And read it in your sweetest, nicest voice like they love you, right? And it makes all the difference. That is such a good example. So, what did you do? What would be the green light on that?
The green light was reading it differently, maybe
Yes.
reading it in her voice and not mine, because I was just automatically assuming anger, but also checking my feelings on it.
Yes.
I needed to identify, one, why was I going down that road anyway? We're family.
Yes.
Maybe this wasn't it. And then the next thought was just having a conversation and making sure that we're on the same page together.
Because most of the time, do people do things to us? No, we allow our feelings and our emotions and our chatter, our red light thinkings to control them, right? Wait, let's do one more.
I don't have a strong enough relationship, and I don't know my new coach well enough to be their leader or their mentor.
Oh, that's a good one. Good. So do you have a green light thought that you can exchange that for?
I do. They're excited to build this new relationship with me, and they're looking for my leadership and mentorship in this business.
Perfect. That's awesome. That's really good. Let's do another one. I love this because this is how are we doing on time?
We're gonna let you go, so just do your thing.
Oh, I am? I just have the rest of the morning?
No, no. No, we're only 10 minutes out, so just do your regular.
Okay, well, this is it. Okay, who next?
My team is lost in space because I'm not mentioning.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
Felt that.
Yeah. Yep. And I've felt that before. So, do you have a green light thought for that?
I don't, because I shy away from bringing people on because of that. Because I think I know how to do it. I can do me.
Yes.
But I don't know how to get it across to them. So I'm scared. Like, I don't want them to be lost in space. I was lost in space in the beginning. But I just kind of got it, and then so I shy away from it.
But do you know? Do you know how?
I can do me. Yeah, I know how to do the system and the process.
So, if you know how to do the system and the process, can you tell someone how to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you know how to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, what would be a green light thought? Who wants to help?
I think you just said it.
Yeah. You know it.
You tell them the process, and it's up to them what their success is. I mean, you can only do so much.
Yeah. And I think that's good.
Their success is up to them.
And to me, the shorter the better, right? Because this is your chatter to yourself, right? This is what you're talking to yourself about. Do you know how to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know how to do this. Are you kidding me? What? You're here today. Why? Why are you here today?
My mind just said, wait, you do know how to do this.
How did you get invited to here today?
ADD.
Oh my gosh. So I would think if you hit a D, you had a few people that you've been helping. I'm not just saying. Or do you have someone doing it for you? Is Jamil doing all that for you? Okay. Is that helpful?
Yes.
So you know what? This is something to think about. we all have muscle memory, right? So right now you're like, yeah, I can do that, yeah. And then you walk out of here and you're like, what was that the Karen's talking about today? Okay, so this is why it's so important for the rest of the day to like be thinking about this. When you have a thought, correct it right then. If you don't know, if you can't think of something, do the best you can, but make it positive. It's not about being perfect. Just one second. It's about shifting your mindset. So you don't have to worry about being perfect. And if you don't know, it's like, we're all here. We're family. We all work together. Call one of us. Call a partner. Go, hey, I just can't seem to get a green light thought with this one thing that keeps ruminating around. Can you help me? Utilize the knowledge and the skills that you have in this room and outside of this room. Someone.
I was just going to say self-talk for my journey myself.
Yes.
I'm always negatively talking to myself.
Yeah.
Always.
Okay.
So I need to learn how to turn that into that green.
I want to learn. Right? You don't have to. You don't need to. Right?
Okay.
I want to learn how to shift my mind into positive thinking. So share something with us that you tell yourself. And let's start with something.
Well, I put on a few pounds, and I started in the morning, and then by the end of the evening, Sherry and I were talking, and I was saying I had some Halo ice cream, and she goes, Nancy, it's not that bad. Halo ice cream is not that bad, but in my mind, I had failed, because it's not programmed.
Okay. So what would be a green light thought for you?
To be more realistic with myself, I guess, and I don't know, Karen. That's the struggle.
Anyone else want to help?
May I suggest something?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Tell you how much weight that you lost?
Well, originally 103.
How much weight have you kept on?
I've kept off 85.
So how about you embrace that? Because how long has it been since you lost?
A year.
Exactly. Most people have gone quite a bit up on diets, and you haven't.
Right.
So that's where.
And then Sherry said too, you need to rethink. You may have gotten down there, but that's not a realistic number. So she helped me on the way up here. Kind of shift my thinking too.
So we want to, and be careful, because we want to shift our thinking to honor what it is we want. We don't want to change our goals to honor what we're thinking. Does that make sense? Okay. So I think that's an amazing suggestion. Like,
embrace it.
Love yourself.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace. Think in terms of, look at the positive things. Like, exchange your chatter of negative thinking about yourself to, wow, look at how great I'm doing. I want to reach out to my mentor, coach, so I can have some coaching on my program. Okay. Maybe you need to talk to someone every day for a while. But serve yourself, do what's best for you, love yourself, and anytime you have that chatter and the negative thinking, immediately, right? Change.
Yeah, because what happens is I have the negative chatter about myself, and I think, well, if you are doing this, how can you coach someone else?
Because if you're doing this, you don't know how to coach other people?
No.
Do you?
But I do.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And even when I'm coaching them, I'm going, why don't you listen to your own coaching technique?
Well, it's true, and I struggle too. Yeah. But I know how to help people, right? I know how to help people, as do you. So embrace that, because we're human. Give ourselves grace. We're not perfect. And you have, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? 85 pounds? Hello, right? That is incredible. That's incredible. So you know how to do this.
Right.
And reach out, love yourself. Okay? Positive thoughts. Change them immediately.
Right.
Okay? Zzz, right? So today will be zzz. Anyone else want to share one?
I have one. So
Yes,
I have
Fred.
a baby coach that I've been working with on practice calls.
A baby coach.
But she's been just kind of listening to how I do it, but we've done enough, and this happened actually yesterday. It got to a point where I started thinking, like, I'm going to have to do all these calls for her, I'm going to have to do everything for her beforehand every step of the way. And obviously that is a red light thought.
Yes.
But in the middle of that, I actually switched it to a green light thought, and under the sort of like sometimes rule that I have, what would Jamil do? And I basically said, I remember when he basically threw me in the fire because whether or not I was ready, I needed to do something to grow. And so that's what I kind of did. I was like, you know what, these next 2 calls, I want you to lead. And, you know, where I could have thought, she's not ready, she doesn't know what she's talking about. I said, you know the program, you're excited about the program, you know the community, you're excited about the community, do it. And you know what, she surprised me.
That's perfect, that's good. So great switch. And because sometimes we get kind of caught up in that muck and mire, right?
Oh yeah.
And when really, as long as you're doing it for them, if you found this to be true, as long as you're doing it for them, they're gonna let you.
Yeah.
Right? But then when it's like, then they jump to the occasion. So that's really good. Good. How much time do you have?
You got 8 minutes.
Let's do one more because I just love this.
I have one.
Yeah.
It's the same idea if I'm struggling with the fact that we're not perfect, whether it's your program for being healthy. Like I mentor Nancy and all my clients to say all those words, but calling and helping new people is stopping at the moment for me because I feel like I don't have it mastered, so why would I offer something to someone that isn't going to be a fix? So I think after you get past the wow, she's past her wow, I'm past my wow, now we're at the maintenance of, I'm back to my life where I'm at a healthy weight, but I still have all that crap that I guess you perceived that this program was going to get rid of. It's really bothering me, obviously. So how do you, change it to green light thinking about how I'm going to offer a program for someone who is struggling when I'm struggling? Like I feel like it's not authentic and genuine because it didn't make it all better.
Mm-hmm. So are we perfect?
No.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah. I struggle with that same thing. Here's the deal. What I tell my clients and my coaches is that I'm not presenting myself as a personal trainer with a perfect body to you. I'm a human who has his weaknesses, but I found a way to overcome that through a community like this. And it's much easier. So even if I struggle along the way, I'm still willing to walk with you on your journey. That's how I see it. So I come to terms that I'm not perfect, but that energy actually goes out much better when you feel good about your imperfections. That's how I cope with it.
You have a gift here. You got to remember how many doctors are diabetics that prescribe insulin. How many nurses are on medications and made a profession of it because that is their symptom and went into that field because they have that certain disease and they still know how to help people and they still struggle with it daily and they make millions of dollars doing that. So you got to look at it as you have a gift to help somebody else. It's their choice whether they're going to succeed with it or move forward with it, whatever it is. But you have something that it's like, well, I'm not going to give this gift because I'm judging the fact that they may be not successful based on my own experience. You know what I mean? So instead of saying that, say, I'm going to give this to them and they're going to do what they want with it. And I would love to help them in that thought process. But at the end of the day, a doctor doesn't go in and say, well, I'm not going to put my coat on today because I just put my insulin in and I'm going to prescribe this guy a higher dosage. He goes in and does his thing because it's his, in a sense, a job, right? It's possibly a passion of theirs. So that's, you got to look at that as this, I'm going off on a tangent here for a second, but we look at this as a thing, like a hobby. This is like life-changing for people, life-changing for people. My aunt went from 4 insulin injections a day down to a half of one in 7 weeks, type 1 diabetic. 89 pounds down and now a quarter of an insulin injection. Not only did that help her physically, but financially, they were paying $300 every 2 weeks on insulin. They're paying $300 every 3.5 months. That's $600 a month, down to like $40 a month. I mean, that could impact somebody, that could change somebody's world. That's 2-3 car payments or half of their, a third of their mortgage. So it's like, I look at it as, why am I not going to say that? Because, oh, that person's skinny. I work with a lot of Filipinos and Asian people that are diabetic, and they're fitter than I am, looking, but you just don't know until you share it with them. So it's like, it's almost like, I look at it as it's not fair that I don't share this with them because it's selfish on my end. You know what I mean?
Oh, I was just gonna say and a lot of you guys know my story, and I kind of hid out for a while because I was struggling. And then last year, towards the end of the year, I started sharing, like, I put weight back on, I'm struggling. So now that's what I tell people. I'm like, I do this because I'm struggling. I'm doing this with you. Will you do this with me? And when I check on you, I hope that you're checking in on me. That's the kind of relationship I want. And that's genuine, right? Does it not help you to help other people? Then that's authentic. And that's what you tell people. I'm not perfect. And the sooner you can admit that to yourself, that's really where the freedom comes.
Yes, I totally agree. And I also say, and thank goodness I have this, because who knows where I'd be if I did not, you know, and let's partner together. And we're working together, and this is like for all parts of your life. So work at, Sherry, little baby steps, right? When you have those red light thoughts about it, what would be a good shift? Like, oh, I can't do this because I'm not perfect. What would be a good shift to tell yourself in a few words? A green light thought.
Well, when it's about getting the word out to clients in general, I have been doing reminding myself how frustrated I was 3 years ago. And so I say that, like, well, they could need this as much as I did to call. And I just do. It's the following through. You know, in the moment I can switch to green light thinking to do that one action. I then need to continue the shot.
Yes.
Continue the,
yes.
I don't make myself crazy after I do it.
Yes.
So that you continue.
And that is exactly right. Do we learn something doing it one time? No, it's a muscle memory. We're going to go back to that. So that's why it's like every single time. When you do it every single time, after a while, what happens? It becomes second nature, right? Then you just, oh, isn't that funny how that thought came to my mind? No, they're excited to hear from me. No, I'm making a difference in people's lives. I'm excited to, ooh, and this is helping me too. So, and you know what? Yeah, you're going to have to do it over and over and over. And we're all different. You know, we may have to do it 20 times a day, but that's okay. What else are we going to be doing, right? It's just a thought. So what do you want? Do you want your mind to have no limitations for your business? Do you guys realize what you have in your hands here? Like, you are CEO of a business. If it's not already $1 million business, it's heading that way. This is what you have in your hands. And are you kidding? You're going to let a little thought that we've made up anyway stop you from moving forward, right? Okay, was this helpful to do this?
Yes.
Okay, good. So what I'd like you to do, and I have a couple more things, don't be walking up here yet. What I'd like you to do is to really put this foremost in your mind, okay? And when I see you at convention, I want you all to come up to me and tell me how that's going, all right? Okay, a couple more things I want to add to just positive, creating a positive life, being the light for people, right? You want, you know, what is that little thing? I think it's so funny. It's like, do you light up a room when you walk in or when you leave? Isn't that funny? So you want to be the person that lights up a room when you walk in. And so we get more of what we focus on. Have you found that to be true? When we're whining, there's more problems. When you're happy and you're excited and you have a lot of energy and things are going great, life is amazing, isn't it? So a couple more things that I want to add. Get in the habit of finding the good in everything. Everything. Even the smallest little thing. And we know when we're going there, right? So just get in that habit, because when you do it every day, it will become a habit. Compliment people. Let people know you appreciate them authentically. If you don't make it up, right? But we can always find something good to compliment someone on, right? Oh, I really love your shirt. That's a beautiful color green. And doesn't that feel good when people do that to you authentically? You can tell if someone, you know, doesn't care. It's kind of like, hey, how are you? Fine. Or I'm really terrible. It's a terrible day. And they go, okay, great. And they keep walking by, right? so be authentic. Catch people doing something right or something good. Even if it's the tiniest little thing. Even if your client calls, like I had one call me one long time ago and said, oh my gosh, those bars are so good. I go, yeah, they are good. She was like her first day or two. She goes, yeah, I woke up in the middle of the night and I ate them all. I said, you mean what? You ate like all your servings for the day? No, I ate all the boxes. I go, really? I go, and how were they? I will never forget this as long as I live. how were they? She goes, they were delicious. I said, well, I guess you won't have to worry about those bothering you anymore then, right? And so found something good. Now she didn't have to be tempted by those nasty bars because they're all out. So you can always find something good in everything. Look for it, all right?
And that's something you just want to throw that out that you can do with your family.
Yes.
So many times with our children, especially small children.
Yes.
You know, and I do the same thing as a grandparent. You know, they do all these things. Oh, they get into this and they get into that, and they don't say this right. And you know, be sure to say thank you. You didn't say thank you, and
Yes.
please. But you know, start noticing all the little things that they do that are so amazing, wonderful, and you're so happy for them. But you sometimes don't forget to mention to them.
That's really good.
Really beautiful picture you're drawing.
Because everything we're talking about is for every aspect of our life. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because little kids, adults, when someone says something, it's like, oh, thank you. Doesn't that make you feel good? I mean, I love that. Avoid getting caught up in the muck and mire of negative talk and complaining. And, you know, like someone says, oh man, you know, the company screwed up an order for a client, and then I'm going, yeah, I know what you mean, that happened to me too, and there's nothing good that comes out of a conversation like that. Turn that into a green light thought. Well, you know, the really exciting thing about that, Susie, is our company's growing so fast, and it is exploding. Probably they're a little short-handed, and, you know, I just haven't seen that happen before, so let's just make it really right for the client and not worry about it, right? So immediately change it into a positive thing. And set your intentions and work on becoming a better version of you by using all these steps. So I want to read one little thing that I saw the other day that I really liked, and then I'll be done. Don't confuse positivity with perfection. Just because someone doesn't post all their problems on social media doesn't mean they don't have them. It doesn't make them fake either. Some people just choose to speak life, uplift, motivate, and inspire through positive affirmation. Things that make you laugh or think rather than promote negative energy, violence, messiness, hate, or things that divide us and tear others down. We are all human, works in progress, flaws and all. But when you focus on, but what you focus on, you attract. And that will become your reality. That's the law, so make it good. Thanks, you guys.
Good stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you guys get help from that? So, a couple things that I took away as I'm standing back there and I'm looking at everyone is the greatest desire that I have for not only this group, but our organizations and all the thousands of people that we're going to bring in over the next couple years. Is for us to become conscious leaders. I didn't know what that was. I was so far away from that. And throughout the years that I've started to develop that a little bit better. And what does that mean? So if you guys write down conscious leadership, that means that, for one, you're actually in control of your thoughts. So you don't just allow a thought to penetrate into that brain of yours and believe that to actually be true. You start to realize that you can start to have conversations with yourself, and then you realize that you can actually become the observer of two thoughts having conversations with themselves. So one thought might be a red light thought saying, this coach is too successful, they won't want to join me in an organization. Has anyone had that before? This person's too successful, they wouldn't be interested in this little coaching thing. So that's the red light thinking. Now you have a green light thought that will turn that around and say, if they're so successful, they probably don't have the time or the freedom that they want. So of course they'll want to join me in this business. Now you actually have a third level that you can go to where you're the observer and you're observing both of these conversations that are going on. That is called conscious leadership. So that's where I want us to get to. So if you can write down, some of the things I wrote down was change your thoughts, change your life, change your business. Change your thoughts, change your life, change your business. One of the things I see people do all the time is they lie to themselves. So they'll have this really big goal, you guys. And with this goal, if for some reason, because of their own thoughts that they create, they're not getting here, they'll change this goal. And then they'll start to say things like, well, maybe I really don't want to reach, I don't want to have that much abundance. I don't want to actually be at that healthy weight. Or I'm supposed to be here, to where you just created that out of the thoughts that you had. The other thing that really came to mind is a word called suffering. So write down suffering. So what we do is we create our own suffering based off of the thoughts that we decide to have. So we create thoughts. From those thoughts, they tend to derail us. That's the red light thinking that Karen's talking about. And from that red light thinking, we create our own suffering. So this person, none of these people are getting back to me. None of these people want to join me in my business. So that's the original thought. Now we're starting to create our own suffering. Now we will never reach out to people that we can see that can actually utilize what it is that we have. And now we never ever get closer to this thing right here. And now we have something called frustration. This happens all the time. So we create our own suffering based off of the own thoughts that we've created to begin with. This is how we start to disintegrate not only our healthy bodies, our unhealthy minds, and our definitely our unhealthy businesses. The other thing that really stood out to me was something called ego. So when Sherry says, I'm not where I want to be, so how can I offer this to someone else? That's a clear sign that we are in our ego. In order to have really big businesses, guess what you got to start doing to this? What's that? Dying to it. It's not about you. You guys get that? Like, this is why I wanted to do this, because I don't really think we understand what we have. Because if once you decide to start dying to this, once you decide to start focusing on this, another thing that goes with this is something called your what? Why? What happens when we get our ego in the way? What happens to this? Are we focused on this, or do we start to forget about it? We start to forget about it. And then what starts to happen to our actions? There is no action. There is no action. So how do we ever get here? And so for our brain, this is how intelligent your brain is. Your brain doesn't want you to hurt. It wants to protect you. So guess what you'll start to do with those big goals that you set for yourself? You'll start to change them. Because your brain wants to protect your body. It feels like you're going to die. This is why people don't build big businesses. It's not that we can't. We obviously can. But we create our own suffering from this thing right here. It's called ego. It's not about us. The other thing that I wrote down is we do a great job of creating something called this. You guys see what that is? Story. We're great at this. What's the story? I heard so many people tell themselves story. Jesse had a story that that my coaches aren't growing, so that must mean I don't know how to do this or something like that, right? That's a beautiful story. Just created it out of nowhere. And guess what happens with this story? We get really intimate with it. It feels good. It sounds like that's what it is. Honestly, it's bullshit. But we get really good with this story. So write this down. Mentors do not give the answers. A really good mentor does not give the answers. Karen did not give me answers. In fact, she didn't really even give answers here. Someone would say, Nancy, I don't know how to change it. And if you notice, Karen didn't give her the answer. She forced this woman to start figuring out how to give herself the answer. Okay? So mentors, a really good mentor does not give you the answers. So the other thing that we're really going to practice on, Dominic's going to help us with, is how to discover that answer. How do you get there? Because they're going to say, well, I don't know. You're going to say, well, that's interesting. You chose to think about that. That's what Karen did with me for years. She didn't give me answers. She didn't have to inspire me to get into action, right? I'm inspired from my action because I have these things that I know what my why is all the time. So, but what she had to help me do was change the way that I fundamentally thought and change my story. The big part of my story, which is why my marriage was suffering, is because I created a story about my own wife. And I had to figure out how to actually change my story. Amanda isn't going to change. She's going to be who she is, right? When she decides to change, she'll change. But what I can do is change the story that I created, I just made up out of thin air about who Amanda is. Does that make sense? Same thing I can do with myself. So we got to get really good with changing our stories. For all of you guys who want to build big businesses, this is one of the fundamental things you're going to have to help your coaches do, is how to change their story. But you cannot give them the answer. You say, that's interesting, you choose to see it like that. Is this thought serving you, and is it helping you get to this goal up here? And if it's not, how can you change it to fundamentally have a green light thought? And let the silence become uncomfortable. Do not give them the answer. They're going to say, I don't know. It's too hard. They're going to be upset with you. A good mentor does not care about people getting upset with them. My job is to help people become successful. If they want a friend, great, go get a friend. But you have to be able to get to the point to where you can have someone become upset with you, and you care more about their success than you do about them being upset with you. Because once they realize that you're helping them become a better person, they'll come back and they'll say, my bad. I've had to say my bad a lot to Karen and Kim over the years, a lot. But they've given me off the hook so many times, it's not even funny. So my desire before we leave here is that we stop thinking in linear form, and we stop thinking about that this business is just about clients. One of the things that's really holding us back as business owners and as leaders is we still think that this business is all about clients, and we don't have a sponsoring mindset. And so that's really slowing down our businesses in the whole, because clients will come and go. Coaches, as you can see, will generally come and stay, the ones that want to be there. And so our frontline volumes look great, but our group volumes are not where they probably need to be. And so the number one way you get that is you develop a sponsoring mindset. So once I finally start to understand this, we went from just having maybe 3 or 4 coaches in an organization in early January 2013. And once I started understanding that my business isn't really going to grow, I was running 16,000 frontline volume at that time, but I was doing all the work. And my business isn't going to grow unless I develop a sponsoring mindset. So I did. In the next 2.5 months, we brought on 36 coaches. Okay, so you have to fundamentally start to understand that the growth in this business, where you want it to be, comes with coaches. So I want to invite up Global Director Justin Navini. You guys know him. He's a brilliant, brilliant coach. And he was one of the first people that had the same sort of vision that I did back in the day. So he's going to talk to us about sponsoring mindset.
What up, guys? How's everybody doing? So for some of you who don't know me, this is kind of exciting for me to talk because it is about sponsoring mindsets, and this isn't just a diet, right? It's not just a weight loss program. It's not just a weight loss company. Starting a little while back, 4.5 years ago, February 2013, I didn't have a weight loss story. I was actually brought into this program for the other 2 components of this program, and that was healthy mind and healthy finances. I was physically fit at the time, or so I thought. I learned a little bit through the program. Obviously, we all can. But I was not looking for a weight loss program. I was looking for a better life for myself. And a lot of times when we look into this program, we don't feel like we can talk to people because it's not about them. One, red light thinking is they don't have a weight loss that they need. They're too skinny or this or that. And we talk about our lists, right? So my story is I was a roofer at the time. I was working 60 to 70 hours a week. I only got paid for 40 because my boss believed traffic was my problem, not his. I got a $3 raise in a 5-year period with like 7 extra job titles. I'm sure some of you guys know people like that, or yourself as well. And as Jamil was lucky enough to know my wife at the time, reached out to her as they'd go to lunches and things and make connections and had the vision of this isn't just a weight loss program. He had shared with her that, Justin would be good at this. He was in the fitness avenue. I liked it as a hobby because it didn't pay bills. I would have loved to do it on my own, but it just didn't work. So about 6.5 months, 7 months later, after making a few connections with Jenny and Jenny talking to me about it, I was up on the roof one day and my boss just laid into me. It's 120 degrees out. I got a 500 degree thing, a kettle, which is a hot tar that you have to deal with. And I'm sitting there mopping and he's just laying into me, calling me every name under the sun, all kinds of stuff, right? The typical jobs we love to have. So I immediately thought of Jamil and I just said, F it, I'm done. And so I went home that night. I don't even know if because he was still new too, guys, remember. I don't even know if he knew I was going to order my coaching kit. I was going to try the program out, this packaged food, because I could sell this, right? Jamil, look at how I look. I know how to exercise. I know what to do, right? Ego, we talk about. And so, you know what I said? There was a shift I had, and I don't know what it was. And I said, if I'm going to go in the hole, I'm going to order everything. So I ordered the food and the coaching kit. I threw it on a credit card because could I afford it? No. But I said, if I'm going to go in the hole, I might as well go all in. They always say pain pushes till vision pulls. So I quit my job without a client. I borrowed money to fly up to a Kim Fisk event a week later. I called in sick on my first 2-week notice I put in, right? Had no clue what I was doing, but they always, like I said, pain pushes till vision pulls. So sponsoring mindset, guys. 2 reasons we want to have a sponsoring mindset is, one, is because people need this in their life. I'm sure if you guys take 5 seconds right now, and I'm going to be quiet for 5 seconds, you could probably think of at least 1 or 2 people that talk to you daily about their job that sucks, or they don't get paid enough, or their kid wants to play softball and basketball and they don't know how they're going to pay for it, or they've always wanted to go on a vacation and they haven't done it in 8 years. I hadn't done it in 8 years before this company, at least that I can remember. So are we thinking about somebody? So why are they not on our list? Are they on our list? Now, how many people do we know that we can do that? Now, the reason we have that mindset is because a lot of things is when we visually do things, right? I'm sure we've all had coaches here and we've learned, you can tell them something till you're blue in the face. Whatever they've seen you do is what they're going to probably do. So as we come into this with just a weight loss mindset, that's what we look for. So I guess for me, I was blessed in a certain way because I came into this full-blown business mode. So I didn't have an issue talking to a Greg or a Josh Bomba or a Michelle Bomba or a Dominic about the business side because I didn't see that, right? Because visually, I came into this a different direction. So we need to shift that mindset. Like Jamil had mentioned too, another thing is with this, do we want freedom? Anybody?
Yes.
Are we asleep? Are we awake? Am I boring? I got a big enough head. You guys can all look at it at once. It's fine. So look, here's the thing, is if we want freedom, if we don't want to have an employee mentality, if we don't want to have a 20,000 frontline volume and work 80 hours a week, you might as well just have a job. There's jobs out there you can work 80 hours a week and make a lot of money, but have no time to do it, right? So there's 2 different things there. We want to create time freedom for ourselves and be a business leader and be a business. We're not an employee anymore. That's the first one. The second one is who cannot use a little bit more money in their life? Why do we get so timid when we're talking to people? We get so good and so passionate about, oh my God, do you want to lose 50 pounds in 5 months? And we're going to get you off of your 2 medications. And oh my God, what's that going to mean for your family? And we dig into that. And then we start doing this thing. Okay, well, we're supposed to talk about coaching, but I don't know if we're supposed to talk because that's awkward. Their weight's not awkward, but coaching's awkward. Right? Why is that awkward? They're going to think I'm selling them something. Now they're not going to do the program. I got to get them on the program first. This is a big thing, guys. I got to get them on the program first, then I will bring up the coaching. That was a big shift for me a year ago. Every one of my coaches now that I talk to, when we get on and do their practice calls, I focus on the area that they came on to the call about. If they're a practice person, awesome. I offer them the whole trilogy as they came on to support that person. But they know all 3 areas of the not weight loss program, the full optimal health program of what we are as coaches. Optimal health to us as a health coach, as an Optavia leader, is healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. And the healthy body will not stay around if the other 2 are not in play. They will not do it. It will not. Why? Well, I'm stressed out. So what do? I binge eat. Right? Or I'm stressed out because I financially can't have my kids do this, so I work those extra hours. And we get sucked right back into that employee mentality. So I really dig into that, guys, because that's the passion that's going to drive you to share this with people. Really about them being able to be free. Look at what I was able to do. I quit my job. That was crazy. Craig Chapman used to chew me upside and down the other because I tell people that story and he's like, you can't tell people to quit their job. No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not for everybody. But the point is, though, is you need to have the background of me being the fact that Jamil could have just walked by and said, that dude's pretty fit. You don't need my program. He's doing fine. He doesn't know about me working 60 to 70 hours a week until Jenny shared that with him. Why? Because he had a sponsoring mindset. He was asking questions. He was learning about somebody. Why do we want to learn about their weight loss success and not about the rest of their life? When I talk to somebody now, it's, well, why are you stressed out? Well, I'm just so stressed out, so I keep eating. Okay, you know, do the 5 and 1. Let's read chapters 21. You know, why are you stressed out? Why do you have a headache? Just let's keep taking the Tylenol. Why is the headache there? If you start thinking like that, it evolves organically, and then you don't have to stress out about bringing it up to somebody. Hey, I got this amazing program. I'm really excited that you want to lead with your health, and that's what we like to do as coaches is lead with our health first. But I have these 2 other areas that I'd love to share with you. And then you share it with them. It's not hard, guys. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. They're going to take it however they want to take it, whether we have red light thinking or not. Go green and let them decide what they're going to say. Right? One of the biggest things I learned, Dan Bell said, and if we want to look at this from a business sense of time freedom and things like that, he said if we were able to bring on 1 senior coach a month, 12 months in a year for 1 year, 1 senior coach a month, and help that person get simplicity. This is what I'm saying for this. Help that coach get to senior coach. Help that next coach help their coach to get to senior coach. And then maybe 1 more, and now they're off and running. And then the following month, you do that duplication again. That builds structure. That builds time freedom. By default, by the end of that year, you could potentially be a presidential director. By that simplicity. Not this person's on fire. They're going to go get 20 clients right now, and they're just going to go. That's cool for them, but that's not duplication. That's not building your time freedom either. That's not building their time freedom. You're still allowing them to be an employee, which they're good at. And then how many people are we not sure about, and maybe they disappear? We're talking real talk here. They disappear. And there could have been a Jamil Frazier or a Karen Ostrom in there, or a Kim Fisk, that we don't even know who it was because they came in as a diet mentality and they didn't have the support they wanted, and then they're moving on. So those are the 2 areas I'm trying to touch on, guys, is why we want to build time freedom for ourselves as a support is building a big business. Sponsoring coaches. The simplicity of it is if we're digging into their life about their weight loss, we should be digging into the rest of their life of why the other 2 categories could fill those shoes easily. And it naturally happens. There's no awkwardness. I don't know how many practice calls I've done. I brought on quite a few coaches lately, but practice calls, and if you don't have, and I love this story about Jamil, and I know we pick on Jamil all the time. I love him to death. But this story, because everybody thinks Jamil's, we joke, is the godfather. But he wouldn't let Kim or Karen Elstrom on a practice call with him at the beginning. And I love this story. Wouldn't let her on, wanted to quit. I don't know the whole story to detail, but I do know this part. Once he let her on the call, she realized that he's projecting the price. That's a big thing that we do, guys, is if we're so chattered up here, we project all this stuff. And that's where the red light thinking starts. Well, this person's going to think I'm selling, so I can't tell them about the coaching opportunity because they only want to lose 40 pounds. Well, in my head, I would say green light thinking. Why did they gain the 40 pounds? Let's talk about their family for a second. I always ask, what do you do for a living? Oh, you know, I work in this hospital at nighttime, and then in the daytime I work at this cleaning job. You know, my wife, she stays home with the 3 kids, and we're kind of strapped right now. We just moved into town, or whatever the story is. We just bought a house. They say over 50% of Americans are $500 away from going bankrupt. We have a gift here, guys. It's not hard. It's not a weight loss. The weight is caused by what? Stress. What is 95% of the stress caused from? Time freedom or money. You either make a lot of money and you don't have time to spend it, or spend time with the family. Why do you think doctors have quit their practice to do this full time? Have you guys ever gone by a hospital in the back? You know what they have there? They have an auto detail guy who's out back pressure washing their cars because they don't have the time to even get a fucking car wash. Just because you're successful financially doesn't mean you have the financial freedom that you want, or the time freedom that you want. Now, I'm not saying to go tackle doctors. We all know that story with Kim, but I'm just saying people in every area of their life, whether they're successful or not successful. I don't know how many times a coach has told me, well, they just have a great career and this and that. You haven't asked the right question. You honestly haven't asked the right question. Maybe some people do, and I know friends that do, but guess what they're doing? They own their own business. They don't work for somebody. They own their own business. They own their own business. How many people do we know own their own business? Besides us. Right? And it doesn't need to be a Justin Avini quit your job and no clients go balls to the wall. But dude, an extra $500 or $1,000, you could add 10 years on to somebody's life because not only did they lose 30 or 40 pounds, but they're not stressed out. They're able to be an Eric Rosales who gets to hang out on a Saturday or call in when he wants to. And guess what? Man, and all he's thinking in the back of his head, he's not even present here. Because all he's thinking in the back of his head is, shoot, I just gave up on $200. I'm going to figure out how to get that $200. He's at this event, learning a training, and all in his thought, stress, is he's trying to figure out where he's going to come up with that $200. He's not even present in the training that's going on. You guys realize what we have with that? Like, you get excited, like, losing and getting off medications. That's cool. That's awesome in itself, too. But you could flip somebody's life 180 degrees with this program of a $200 buy-in. A multi-million-dollar business with a $200 buy-in. Go ask a lawyer about that. Go ask a doctor's practice about that. Go ask how many dental hygienists people you have to have working for you to get to a capital of making $30,000 to $40,000 a month with a shit ton of overhead. Do we have overhead? You guys, does that really sink in? I know I get a little animated here, and I'm a little off of my notes, but those are the two things. Those are the two things that make it simple. It's the red light thinking, guys. If we go on that call and we're excited, oh my God, dude, this person talking to me, they want to lose 40 pounds. You know, I noticed, I'm being aware. I noticed that they were walking with their 2 kids. I didn't see their wife there, or their baby mama. Maybe they're not wearing a wedding ring. Maybe they're a single parent. These are things I think about when I'm talking to somebody. I went dirt biking the other day and I posted in my little message group. Joy knows about it. This lady, she said, hey, and this is an idea of making connections too, a little bit off topic, but she's like, yeah, I don't get the dirt bike anymore. You know, my son's back from the Army and we're just taking him out. I haven't dirt biked in years. Hey, well, we go all the time. I'd love to get your number. We can throw you in the group together and connect. She's a massage therapist. Hello. Guess what else she said? Because I'm listening. No. She's getting older and her body aches. And she'd like to have more time freedom. Sponsoring mindset, guys. It's not that hard. Now, if I come up to her and say, oh man, this girl, she's pretty fit. So if I tell her, you know, we have a weight loss program, she's going to think I'm thinking she's fat. You know, how do I approach this? Go the other side. Hey, you know, I noticed the other day when we were chatting that you talked about, you know, wanting to slow down on maybe doing some massage therapy because your joints are hurting and you're getting older. And I'm sure you want to keep dirt biking, right? Would you want to give that up? That's kind of fun. Or whatever it is. Whatever the topic is in your world. I'm just using that because that works for me. But I'm just saying, like, that would be an avenue to talk to her instead of thinking, well, she's pretty fit. She probably doesn't need our program because I'm thinking weight loss. Instead of single parent, 2 kids, works 10-hour days, Monday through Friday as a masseuse. That's tiring. I don't care how many exercises you do at the gym. Massaging somebody 10 hours a day for 5 days a week. That's a sponsoring mindset. We always look for like these little nuts and bolts of like, okay, what's the exact process? And sometimes we're going to follow that. No offense. I didn't either. But we have like, it's called coaching for dummies in front of us, simple systems. But the thing is though, is we don't even follow that. So make it fun. Find some areas in your life that are fun. Being at birthday parties, doing different things. The sponsoring mindset is not only going to create time freedom for you guys, but it's also going to not make it such like a weird, awkward conversation. You're going to just talk to somebody like you just talked to them about weight loss. And how comfortable, we're all EDs in here, so how comfortable are we all talking to people about the weight loss category? And then we get kind of timid when it comes to coaching. Right? If we want to get past the ED level, what do you have to do? You have to start sponsoring. Or you can be an employee. You can run a 20,000 frontline, sure. 50 hours, 60 hours a week. Or you can go impact somebody. Look at it this way. You can go change somebody's life 180 degrees, because if you don't help them financially or mentally, the weight's going to come back on. Because the stress is still there. We didn't get rid of the stress part, did we? That's what Dr. is saying about this. One of the biggest sayings is seeing somebody out there drowning and you're driving by on a boat and you offer them the 5-in-1 meal plan is like throwing them a life preserver, saying, here you go. Well, they can float now, they're good, and then driving off. Instead of offering them the other two areas, which is pulling them into the boat and letting them not stress and not be tired day in and day out and working crazy hours. If we have fun with this, guys, it's not hard. It's just like, well, I'm sure we all came into this and it was like, oh my God, I have so many people talking to me about the price. And then somewhere along the line, we had that shift and now the price isn't even an issue. Oh my God, Optavia Food's $40 more. How am I going to swing this one? I didn't have a problem with it because I didn't make it a problem. If we don't make it a problem, it's not there. Like Jamil says, most stories are bullshit. I like this R-rated version of our training. I'm very sorry, guys. But I'm just saying, I wanted to make this fun. You guys, I want to ask questions now too, because I like to be engaged with this stuff. I don't like to just talk, because I can talk a lot. And we can do bullet points, and that's cool. But those are the two real areas. It creates time freedom for you guys. Do you have goals? And like Jamil said, don't change your goals based on your actions. Change your actions based on your goals. Don't give up on yourself because it's like, well, I did that for a year, my way, to boot. That's even an old saying, to boot. But I did it my way of coaching, and I wasn't successful. So I guess this goal of being able to have 5 vacations a year and buy this house in 2 years, I'm going to push that out to 4 years. Why? Les Brown said one of the coolest things ever. This guy called him up and he's like, man, I'm stressed out. My sales are down. And he goes, how many calls are you making a day? He's like, 10. He goes, double it. Checked in with his buddy a couple months later. He's like, how you doing? My sales are up. There's no magic to this, guys, in sponsoring. It's just duplication. So questions. I like to take questions for the next, what do I have? Where do you know my phone's at? 10 minutes or so?
11:02.
11:02, okay. So next 10 minutes, I think I'm actually over, no, Jamil? Okay. Does that make sense to everybody what I said? I'm trying to talk real here and not just like strategic. We all know the strategy of bringing on a senior coach. 1 out of 5 is a coach. No, 1 out of 1 is a coach. Everybody needs this, guys. At this level, we should know that by now. That's something to not overwhelm somebody when you bring them into the business. That's an idea to get the thought process visually going. But at this level, everybody's a coach. And if we don't have that list of coaches at home right now, or people that could use this business financially for their own life, it's not about the coach title. It's about the vision for their life financially. If we don't have a list of those people going, we should make a list. That's a homework I'd ask you guys to do. Challenge yourself. 5 people a week you should be thinking of easily that could use this financially, and then start working with them from somewhere along those lines. So,
I have a question.
yeah.
If you are considering if you're talking to somebody about bringing them on as a coaching partner and they don't do program, like they're very fit, do you still suggest that they do program as well? Like,
What do you think the answer is to that?
yes, but then what do you say? Like, how do you posture that?
Hey, we're just going to try the program out real quick. We'll probably do 1 week of program like I did. And that way you can experience it like the clients will when you do bring clients off of that area. Because most likely if you're bringing a person on like that, they're going to be like me and they're going to be more coach developing than just clients. But hey, you need to try the program out. I did it myself. I didn't really want to do it at first either. Have fun with it. But just be organic with it and say you're going to do 1 week of program and then transition out. No big deal. Yeah.
I also bring up how we order from our coaches every month too, whatever. So that's why.
Yeah, I mean that's an
I
accountability.
tell people it's actually part of your training.
Perfect.
As a client, then I'm going to be teaching you how to coach.
Exactly. It's visual, guys. If I can't tell you guys that either, sponsoring mindset is really focused on your business in the sense of whatever you visually do with the coach. So if we're not doing first week celebration calls, they're not going to do first week celebration calls. And we can't figure out why, even though we've called them 90 times now. Because I'm going to tell you, if you guys don't get anything out of what I said today, whatever you visually start a client out with, that could potentially be a coach, or a coach out with, it could be a coach. Visually, that's what they're going to do. I don't care how many times you call them after that, or try to get them on a Zoom, or whatever. That's a whole other topic. I don't want to get too much off. Go ahead.
I was just gonna add to her question about, if they look physically fit, how do you ask them to try the program? I tried the program because I had somebody in mind that I wanted her to try the program, and she never started. And I learned so much just from doing the program. When I thought I didn't have any weight to lose. I lost 15 pounds and it changed sleep. So it wasn't just about the weight loss, it was about just being healthy in general.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to lead with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of time, great example. I didn't think I had weight to lose. I was like, oh, I'll do 5 pounds. I lost 18. I didn't even know what a healthy BMI was. I thought the average male, 6'1", is supposed to be 200 pounds. Meatheads. I'm supposed to be like between 173 and 185 if you're healthy. Right? So I didn't know that I had weight to lose, but I experienced it. And here's the best part to your question is I don't care if you ask them to eat poop. If you've asked the right questions for them to experience their life changing, they're not going to have an issue with it either. That's the point, is like, if we get into their why before the how, if we get into the why before the how, doesn't matter what you say after that. If they're intrinsically motivated, it doesn't matter what you tell them. I don't have any issues with people doing that, because if they're wanting to do it, which is the thing, we don't make them do it, they want to do it, they won't have an issue with that. So and you just have them try the program. So I think I went a little bit out of time, but does anybody else have any questions? I didn't really want to, everybody knows sponsoring, right? 5-in-1 clients, we're past that. I just want, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the question is this, so I have a new coach who's, has a list of people, but for some reason, there's one person interested in doing the program and she cannot afford it. Every excuse in the world, money that's not there, so she can't afford it. So my suggestion, and I'm just giving my approach to the situation, but how would you approach it, based on what I suggested, is 3-way calls need to happen to practice, so you understand the dynamics of the 3-way calls. So it's not up to you to give me that answer, and she might have said that to you, but when we go through the motions of the 3-way calls, maybe I find a few things here and there that we can use to help through her friends to make that financial avenue for her to get on the program down the line. That was my suggestion. Is there anything else you would add to it?
I think that's a great suggestion, because I'm sure everybody has a friend that wants to do it with them, and financially, but that goes back to if they're intrinsically motivated. My aunt, after this story, I never tripped on anybody about money ever again. My aunt was making $1,300 a month, living in the high desert, paying her mortgage. My uncle didn't work, and she somehow bought program. I did pay $80 for her because she had to use a vanilla card and couldn't afford a credit card, so she went and got a card, intrinsically motivated. Put $300 on there. I paid the other $80 to just cover the bill. She ordered her food, her coaching kit, and her certification within a 6-week period, but was only making $1,300 and paid for their gas, paid for their bills, paid for their mortgage, and she figured out how to do it because she was intrinsically motivated. So you can give them an opportunity till you're blue in the face. At that point, that's a little bit different topic. They have to figure it out. So I think what you recommended was perfectly fine. Yeah, you can encourage them and help them. But at the end of the day, if you're buying something for somebody else or doing it that way, they're not going to be attached if they go to try it. Out there, $350 or $392. So, well, I gave it a shot. Sorry. So, as far as I think I'm answering your question is looking for ways for them to pay for it to bring on friends. Then yeah, you could have them do that if they're interested in the coaching opportunity. But I would see why she can't afford the program to begin with and dig into that part of her life, and maybe that'll intrinsically motivate her too. You know what I mean? Go away from the weight loss and start saying, well, why can't you afford the program? And most average people are $500 away. It's $392, not too far away from going bankrupt. If she can't afford that extra $400 or $500, there's a reason she needs the other part of the program.
So it's digging into the why.
Yeah, of course.
Before
All
we suggest
areas.
the avenue.
Always dig into the why before the how. Always. And we get so excited for some people. We get like good at 1 or 2 questions, and it's like, oh, well, I made $4,000 in about 6 months, and I'm doing it. And And you can do that too. Instead of saying, well, tell me more about that. I love these guys because he used to piss me off because he asked me a question. And back then I really didn't know how to answer it. So, and then he eventually just didn't answer my phone calls, and then I figured it out on my own. No, but the thing is though, is with that is you gotta ask sponsoring mindset is you look for an end. There's always an end. They can always use every flipping part of this program. Always. It's not a weight loss program. I hope we clarified that? Yes. I went a little way. Thanks.
All right. There really is always an end. So before we bring up the next trainer, I just visually kind of want to show you guys what this looks like. So let's just say that, does everyone work here? Everyone kind of works here, right? So let's just say that, how many hours a day typically do people work at their job? 8 hours? Okay. So let's just say 8 hours, sorry. And then they're working, and what's a good hourly wage, do you guys think? Is it 20 bucks, you say? $20 an hour? Decent? 15? Okay, let's just say 15. I like that one. Good, or? Okay, perfect. So that's good. So it's one person working 8 hours a day for $15, and at the end of that day is how much do they get to take home?
120 minus taxes.
120 minus taxes. We're going to get into that.
So 80.
Okay. So honestly, that's not bad, right? But that's one person doing all the work. Now let's just say we have the same day, okay? And let's just say we have 10 people in your organization along with you. So that's 11 people, right? Right? Yeah. And all of you guys, let's just say all of you guys work 8 hours a day for the same $15. How much do we earn that day?
1,520.
What's that, Dominic?
1,320.
1,320. Let me ask you guys, which one is smarter?
Wow.
Which one's smarter? Which ones would you teach your kids to do? The problem is the way you guys were raised and the way I was raised and the way you guys do things and the way I used to do things is this one. And this is not having a sponsoring mindset. We call this not bright. You understand? Why would you ever do that? But that's what we do. It makes no sense at all. I can never, ever, ever go back because it just doesn't make sense. So I could spend that same time just finding 10 other people. And now I've worked my 8 hours, and yet at the end of the day, what's that difference? Are you starting to see what a sponsoring mindset does? It just makes sense. Just look at the numbers. But what we get really happy about is, let me see if I can work harder at my job to get this number to go up to maybe 40. And now I've made it. Isn't that the way that we think? Let me see if I can go back and get a master's degree because maybe this can go to $75. And guess what happens to this number right here? But that seems smart. I'm in more debt. I'm working more hours. And maybe this number goes up. But guess what most people do when this number starts going up? They spend more. Because they don't have to have what we call emotional intelligence. But you do have to have emotional intelligence to know how to do this. It just makes sense. But we don't think that way because you've been conditioned to have a 1-to-1 ratio. Just like I did until I thought That doesn't make sense for me. I cannot do that. And not only am I not going to do it, I'm not going to pass this model to my kids. Because it just doesn't make sense. Can you guys see this? Does it make sense why you want to spend your time bringing in business partners? Do you know how long it would take for you on this ratio to start doing this? And this is what's going on not only in our organization, but in this country. Because you guys are getting conditioned and you think it's smart to do this one right here. Where you can just look at the numbers and see that it's not. So the next person I want to bring up is going to start teaching us how not only helping ourselves get to our goals, but how to start mentoring our coaches to start getting to any sort of goal that they want. And that's called structural attention. So I'm going to have Dominique Brizzurdo come up, who's an amazing coach and amazing trainer, who's going to lead us through how to create anything and reach any goals that you and your team want.
Pressure, anything?
Anything.
Any goal?
Any goal.
All right. So there we go. Thank you, guys. I'm going to try to mix up some colors. All right. No, thank you guys. I was truly honored to be asked to speak and train in front of you guys. I mean, such a bunch of great leaders in this room. I mean, it's very humbling. I was super excited, and I was excited because a lot of the times when I have to get up here and teach people things or teach my coaches things, I'm learning. So I'm getting a lot of benefit out of it. So I hope I can share the value with you guys. So he mentioned structural tension, but really today what I want to talk about is that age-old question that was once asked. A very wise man asked a very wise doctor this question one day. How do I get my coaches to do what I want them to do? We've all heard that story, right? Well, yeah, I'm going to answer it. You don't, right? You don't. Because it's their choice. It's their choice what they do with this business. And if they choose to grow it, great. If they choose to help one person, great. But whatever they want to do with it, if they want to do a big business or not, it's their choice. And as a mentor coach, what we're here to do is kind of lead them in the direction, give them the tools, give them the guidance, give them the support, maybe a little nudge here or there. But we're really here just to be there for them and kind of show them the way, kind of let them know what we've experienced and some of the bumps and bruises that we've been through, and how to move forward and get what they want. Because that's what this is all about, is helping people get what they want. Whether it's the weight loss, the finances, the healthy mind, that's what we're here for, okay? So now I'm gonna need a little bit of participation here. So I wanna ask a couple people some of the reasons why they became a health coach. So Justin, I always like your reason. Give me the reason why you became a health coach.
I want to change in my life.
How so? What kind of change?
I didn't want to work for anybody else.
Okay. Didn't like his job, right? Job. Right, so we got job. Why did you become a coach?
I'm going to go back to what Jamil just said, because I was in the middle of a PhD program, and I had finished my courses and exams and paid a lot of money for that. I still had a dissertation to write, which was going to take me who knows how long. People do that for years.
Yeah.
And every quarter that I participated, I had to keep paying the school money. And it was my daughter that said, every month that you're spending working on your dissertation, you could be working on health coaching and be making money instead of spending money. And ultimately, your goal in PhD was to be able to teach online for the rest of your life. And this will give you something else you can do for the rest of your life. So it didn't take me long to go away and think my daughter was really smart. And I cried, but I shifted and never looked back.
Awesome. So would you say that was part money, part-time, part job?
I think it was priorities.
Priorities, okay. Priorities, right? Life. All right. Who else? Nicole.
Be part of the community.
Community, okay. community. Great.
I got offered the opportunity at a point where I was coming up on a 4-year anniversary of being frozen in pay at my desk job.
Yes.
And so I wanted to make my own raise.
Want to make your own raise, right? Money. Right. I don't know if you guys know my story, but I'm in the mortgage lending business, real estate. And when I became a coach, I hadn't been paid for 4 months. I was stressed, right? Stressed. It was money. I needed to come in. I had an intense emotional conflict, and I needed my pockets to be filled because I had a house, I had a mortgage, I had a family, I had kids doing all kinds of activities. I was stressed, right? What do you think about those activities, babe? That's fair. So these are some of the reasons why we become health coaches, right? And what we have to offer answers all of these, right? Answers all of them. And we all have different whys, and so do your coaches. They all have a different why. These are some pretty strong whys. Where's Jamil? Why did you become a health coach?
I think initially was I saw the financial opportunity, but I didn't plan on and I didn't intend on actually coaching anyone. I just thought that I would sign them up and that I could sign up some doctors and have them go do all the work. And then once I went to convention, I was emotionally attached. So I wanted to be the person that helped pull people out of their dark alleys, because I was in one for about 2 years prior to that. And it was the first time that I thought that I could meet my financial goal, but still have but not feel guilty about it, because I always felt guilty about the concept of money and earning a lot of money. And so, and then once I saw that I could have the sort of freedom that I wanted, and it could take the pressure off of my marriage, then it became a big passion to start coaching to save my marriage.
Yeah, save marriage. I remember hearing you say one time too, I didn't want my son to grow up in somebody else's household. I wanted to raise my son.
That was a big thing for me, because we were having conversations already about splitting a home, and where Amanda would stay at Long Beach, would she go back to Manistee, stuff like that. And I always would think about somebody else giving Ezra his philosophy and having a conflict there. Ezra spending time with me, getting my philosophies, and going back to some other house and getting their philosophies. And that just gave me the heebie-jeebies every time I thought about it.
I'm going to put maybe relationships. I'm just going to relationships. That's relationships. Rel. Okay? So these are reasons why, some pretty strong reasons why people become health coaches. Now, I want you all to think about your businesses. Think about coaches that you brought on with a lot of these same reasons why, okay? And think of those superstar that had a reason why. Superstar out the gates, boom, this person's on fire. This is my golden ticket. I'm going to be global. Brought them on. This is it, right? And then all of a sudden, they disappeared, right? What happened? They had these reasons, right? You asked them what their why was. They wanted to make money. They wanted to leave their job. Gone. What happened? What happened?
They got comfortable.
Red light
Got
thinking.
comfortable? Red light thinking? Well, I hope I can help explain a little bit of why this happened, okay? If you notice, these are all kind of like problems, right? Problematic. They're trying to solve a problem, right? So when you're trying to solve a problem, let's see. These are, would you agree, intense emotional conflicts, right? Intense emotional. So I'm just going to put IEC right here for that, okay? IEC, intense emotional conflict. So they're struggling with these issues. They're trying to solve these problems. They're trying to fix relationships, get more money, right? And ultimately, it leads them to becoming a health coach, right? They take action. For things to change, you have to change, right? Jim Rohn says that. For things to change, you have to change. So they make a change. They become a health coach, right? What happens? 30 days in, They start making money. They start getting paid the following Tuesday. They get direct deposit. Things are going well, right? Happens. Now, what happens here? A little small, but LEC. There's less emotional conflict that this individual is experiencing now, right? Because now the bills are getting paid. I'm liking this. I see a way out. I see an avenue in the future where I don't have to work at my job. I see a way that I can keep my family together. Right? This community is great. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. I feel like I belong. Right? So now they get a little bit of relief. They get relief from the original symptoms and reasons on why they've joined, right? Why they became part of this community. But I can tell you, based on this, more than likely they're going to fail. More than likely off of this, they're going to fail. And you may say, what? How's that even possible? Justin, global director, almost getting to be a presidential director. Jamil Frazier, integrated presidential director. Your coach, Tony Baroni, integrated national director, moving up to global pretty soon, right? Josh and Michelle, moving up to global. How's this possible? All these reasons why they have it, they're strong, but they're going to fail? Like, I don't understand. Well, what happens? What's missing here? What ends up happening is they have the less emotional conflict, right? It's going to lead them to less action, right? Because they're just trying to solve this initial problem. So now there's less action. And what happens when there's less action? They stop doing the activities. They stop setting up three-way calls. There's a little adversity all of a sudden that happens in their lives. But, you know, this could be within the first month, 2 months, 3 months of them being a health coach. What did you do before, Justin? A roofer. You were an employee. A roofer. Jamil. He sold medical supplies, right? Medical equipment, right? Yasmin, what did you do before?
Personal trainer. Well, actually, I was dog grooming, and then I quit dog grooming from coaching. So.
Perfect. My wife's a nurse. Greg, you work at a college.
Oh, I spaced out of college.
Yeah. You're like an editor, or president, publisher, or something, right? Company, right? You're not health coaches. You're not entrepreneurs, right? So when their first adversity comes, there starts to be less action. They revert back to what they know, their old programming, their old mindset, right? Because what I'm going to show you in a minute is this doesn't work. This sets them up for failure. There has to be a change somewhere, a shift somewhere. This right here, they're all problems that they're fixing and solving. Let me erase this real quick. I'll leave the reasons up here, but. So we have, on one side, we have problematic orientation, okay? Problematic orientation. On this side, I'm not going to write it out. On this one, we have outcome orientation, okay? I'll draw a line down the middle here. So what's the difference here? You're going to hear words on this side. I'm going to solve a problem. I'm going to solve my job situation. I'm going to fix my financial situation. I'm against having my son live in somebody else's house. I am so against that, right? Breaking up my marriage. I'm against it. Now, here's where the individuals that continue to grow, continue to move, here's where they change. They get from this side over to this side. Outcome orientation. So you're going to hear words like create on this side. Create. But did you hear that in the beginning? You didn't hear that in the beginning from Justin. He wasn't looking to speak in front of 30 leaders in the business. He wasn't looking to go up on stage and give a speech in front of 5,000 people at convention. He wasn't looking to change the lives of 10,000 people in his community or just people in general. That's not what they started with, right? That's not what Jamil started with. Jamil was trying to keep his family together. He was trying to make some money. He was trying to make some money, trying to get a new job, trying to save relationships, be part of community. So how do we get them to create, or how do we get them, another word on this side is for. What are they for? Not what are they against. What do they want in life? What do you want in life? So we talk about the why. Yeah, these are reasons why, but we got to go deeper than why, because these are all things that they're against or that they're trying to fix, that they're trying to solve. These aren't things that they're trying to create and trying to build. So when it's financial, I'm trying to fix it, I'm trying to pay off my credit card debt, how can we flip that around? What's a different way of saying, you know, I don't want credit card debt. I need to pay off my credit cards. What's a different way of saying, I don't want credit card debt?
Create financial stability.
I want to create financial stability. What's another way of saying that?
Financial freedom.
Financial freedom. I want to live a life where I pay for cash for everything. I don't know. Right? So what do I want to create? What am I for? What do I really want? Goes on this side. So how do we do that, though? How do we get from a problematic outcome to an outcome orientation? How do we get there? It takes structural coaching. It takes structural tension. But you say, but hey, they made it. Yeah, but they didn't make it initially, and that change didn't happen right away. So over time, there was a structure that was involved that had to inspire them. Their coaches, their mentorship worked with them to pull this out from them, okay? To pull it out. And it's not going to work with every single coach. It's not going to happen, but what we need to do is get our businesses to a position to where it's so structured that we're giving at least every coach that comes into our business the opportunity to move from this problematic orientation to this outcome orientation. And the only way we can do that is, I said, through structural coaching, but through different tools and different exercises with our coaches. Okay? Everybody got this? Yeah. All right, perfect. Now I'm going to completely erase this.
So the goal, Don, is to not only get ourselves into structural coaching, but our coaches as well, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. And what I love about structural coaching is you'll hear a lot of times people will say, I don't feel like that. So with structural coaching, it doesn't care about emotions at all.
All right, now we're going to play a little game, okay? Who's good at Pictionary? Pictionary? All right, good. I'm going to draw something. Let's see.
It's a box. It's a square. It's
yes.
It's a house.
Keep going.
It's SpongeBob.
Three words.
Structural tension chart.
Yes. All right, good. Cheers. All right. Wow, how did you guess that? Man, that is awesome. Woo. All right, let's see. Yeah, it's soccer field, right?
Why do they have a bigger goal? You're cheating.
Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Let's do arrows. Yeah, let's do this. Boom. All right. What Jamil said, this is a structural tension chart, okay? So, first off, what is structural tension? Somebody give me a definition. Please help me. Our group's named after it.
Please so much, too.
Anybody on Zoom? No, I'm just kidding. All right, now, so structural tension is basically, okay, it's the difference between our current reality, right, where we're currently at. This is going to be current reality, so I'm going to put CR right here. CR. And then this is our desired outcomes up here, what we want, what our goals are. And in here, this difference between the two, between our current reality and our desired outcomes, that's where the structural tension is created, okay? So, who wants to be a guinea pig?
Amy does.
No, I don't.
Yes, Sherry does.
Who wants to come up here and help me?
Who wants to grow a big business?
Let's grow a big business.
Sherry does.
All right.
Amy's going.
All right, Amy's going. All right, Amy. All right, good stuff.
Tell them about that Range Rover you want.
All right. Tell me about that. All right.
Just since I'm not allowed to spend
All right. So Amy is, thank you. Thank you for being my
He only
lovely
heard me
assistant.
because
I
I
appreciate
said I
it.
never actually looked at instructional attention.
It's okay. I'm going to help walk you through this right now. So Rosie's passing out. You guys are all lucky because you guys all get to kind of participate in this, so it's kind of cool. But she's passing out structural tension charts for yourself. Hey, can I get one? Sorry. There we go. Awesome.
Yeah, Rosie.
All right. So, huh? You don't know what you're doing? It's okay, cool, because guess what? I'm your mentor in this. So you're helpful, okay? So your current reality, let's look at this and see what it says on here. What's your current rank?
A regional director.
Regional director, okay? So her current rank is regional director. Now, you can just think of last month's numbers if you can. Do you know what your frontline volume was last month?
6,500.
6,500? Okay. FLV, frontline volume, 6,500. Do you know what your group volume was?
Almost 30.
Almost 30,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Put 33.
That's just to touch on that. That's a really good business.
That is strong.
Yeah.
That is strong. That's strong. That is very strong.
Craig will talk more about
Yeah.
So,
Wasn't happy.
I mean, we're all in the same boat. So, what was the income that you made last month from health coaching?
I should probably be at church.
It was probably what we got about 2,000 here, give or take. We'll say it was about 5,000. Yeah, 4,000 or 5,000. So we'll put 5K in income right here. Do you know how many senior coaches you have?
2.
2 senior coaches. And how many ED teams?
1.
Okay, ED equals 1. Okay. Now, what do you want?
What do I want?
What do you want from this business? Why did you become a health coach?
I became a health coach because I didn't want to go back to my job. I wanted to be home with my kids.
Okay.
So my disability was ending with my daughter, and I didn't want to go back to work. I wanted to stay home and go to school, finish my degree.
So you're trying to create a life where you can stay home.
Absolutely.
Stay home while still making income?
Yeah, at that point, it was just I wanted to earn enough to be able to stay home and to go to school and be home with my kids.
Okay. Now what is it?
Now I want a house and a Range Rover.
House and a Range Rover. Okay. You ever want to go back to work?
No.
What about Jeff?
He's in entertainment, so he likes his job, but I'm sure he'd be happy going golfing daily.
Going golfing daily? Okay. So, I could be wrong, I could be lying. But for the sake of this example, is financial freedom important to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, financial freedom. Desired outcome, that's 1, right? But, as I said earlier, it's their choice, right? So, for the purpose of doing this, I don't know if you guys have seen a training that I did before. It was on clients and their choices. In this example, financial freedom would be her fundamental choice, okay? So there's 3 types of choices. Anybody? Go for it.
Fundamental, primary, and secondary.
Perfect. So this fundamental choice is what she's looking for in general. She wants financial freedom, okay? Financial freedom goes up here. That's the fundamental choice. Now, primary choices. Primary are also going to go up here in this box. So now, what does financial freedom mean? What's that dollar amount that's going to take for you to be financially free? Where all your bills are paid, all that you had mentioned.
In order for Jeff to not work?
Jeff, yourself, in general, for him to play golf every day and for you to be home with your kids every day, the mortgages to be paid, and you live the life that you want to live.
With the Range Rover.
With the Range Rover in the house.
The white one.
White one, black top? Oh,
Yeah.
I know somebody has it.
Let's say 20 grand a month. 18.
18.
Looking at you.
Okay. All right. So income of 18K, right?
Sure. That would be pretty.
What rank do you want to hit?
I do want to hit at least a global.
Okay. So we'll put in here somewhere. I'm trying to fit it in the box. Global. Right?
Mm-hmm.
How many, I don't know, ED legs do you want?
How many? As many as I can get.
Many as you can get? No, let's be specific.
Oh. Let's start with like, this might be a ridiculous one. Let's start with like 10.
10, then you be president. All right, so all right, let's change it down.
Rest over.
You go press. Okay, so 10 ED legs, right?
Yeah.
And now you gotta have some senior coach legs sprinkled in there too,
Well,
because not everybody's gonna hit it.
Everything's better with sprinkles.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Sprinkles, or what are they called? Jimmies? Is that what somebody posted in here? Jimmies? Sprinkles? East Coast.
Oh.
Oh. So how many senior coach legs?
Well, if there's, so 50.
50.
Right?
All right.
Because they're all going to be
Let's
equal.
do it. 50 senior coach legs. Okay.
I don't know.
So on this structural tension chart, right now, you can see the tension is building up here. So it's kind of like, you can stay up here because I'm still gonna need you. Still gonna need you. So, all right. Okay. What is this? Rubber bands from your hair, right? I didn't have one, so I found one in my car. My daughter leaves them all over the place. So it's rubber band, right? So right here, you're seeing, if you pull it one way, we'll put the goals up at the top, right? Goals are at the top. And where our current reality is on the bottom, it should automatically take us, if we do this right and we're clear and we're being honest with ourselves. Structural tension, if created, should propel us from here to here, okay? But if you're looking in the middle of this rubber band right here, this is the tension. What is all this stuff? What is all this stuff in here? What is it? Huh? The stuff that's pulling it up, right? It's our day-to-days. So you mentioned our three choices, and we have our fundamental choices and our primary choices up here. So now we got to come up with our daily to-dos, our secondary choices that can fill into here, okay? So our secondary choices. Our secondary choices are our actions. These are our actions. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do to get from here to here?
I am going to start putting more green light thoughts in my head.
Okay, that could be one, green light thinking. What else are you going to do to get from here to here? So look at your numbers and look up here and see kind of where you need to go.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
give me some action steps. What do you do right now?
what do I do right now? Right now, lately, I've had a lot of red light. So I need to get into the green light so I can get into action, start making calls, start booking more celebration calls.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're talking about three-way calls.
Absolutely.
And Amy changed need to I want.
I want. And I do.
Okay. So three-way calls, is that the only thing
No.
you're going to do?
No. It's not.
Okay.
I'm going to do celebration calls. I'm going to pop the question. I'm going to get into a sponsoring mindset. Right?
Question. Okay.
You want more?
Yes. Is popping the question, three-way calls, and having more green light thinking, and taking from here to here. What else can we do? What are some of those income-producing activities and ways that we grow our business?
Get into, well,
Get into action?
Get into action.
What is getting into action?
Get the word out.
Get the word out.
Get the word out.
Word
Then
Well,
calls
that was
today.
more like the calls.
5 and 1 your Facebook.
That's what I need to be more consistent of, because I'll be 5 and 1
Not
in
need
a
to.
few days. I want to be more consistent. Sorry.
Right?
Yeah.
Personal development time?
I need to follow up more consistently. I want to follow up more consistently. I heard it this time.
Systems check.
Systems check. Thanks, Josh.
Healthy happy hour.
Yes. Yeah, we have our weekly dinners.
So guys, force her to work. Don't give her the answers. Make her come up.
I want to be a leader.
How do you do that?
I lead.
What does that mean? How would you work on your leadership?
Through mentoring and personal development. So I want to work on myself more. Does that make sense?
So are you being honest?
Yes, I am being honest. I'm just very nervous.
No, because this will only work if you're being honest, okay? This will only work if you're being honest with where you're currently at. Let's say any part of your life, okay? We're just using the business right here, right now. But say it's a relationship. Say it's whatever, your health, your body, your finances. It will only work if you're being honest with where your current reality is at. It's easy right now for you to see your business and say that because these are specific numbers. But when you're working on other aspects of your life and when you're working with coaches on other areas of their life, this may not be so clear, okay, on where they're at. So we want them to be brutally honest right here, okay? Also, it doesn't work if you're not being honest with your desired outcomes with what you want, okay? This will only work if you're being crystal clear on what it is that you want. Not what you're trying to fix or solve, but what you're trying to create. So I ask you about that house and the Range Rover. Is that what you want? Or does
I want the house, yeah.
Okay, you want the house.
The
Good.
Range Rover would be a nice
The
perk.
Range Rover sounds good.
But it's not necessary.
Okay, not necessary. So do you think that's going to work?
Do I think what's going to work?
The Range Rover. Do you think this will work if you were just trying to attain the Range Rover, right?
No,
Because
I'm
once you get
trying
the
to
house,
attain
then
the
you're like,
house,
hey,
yeah.
kick it to the curb, right? Who needs the Range Rover? You just say to yourself, that would be nice. It sounds like a good idea.
But
Right into the
to
house
add
first.
on there, I do want both of my children in private school.
Okay.
So, and that is more important than a
Yes.
Range Rover.
Good.
Another Range
So you're
Rover.
gonna get them to school.
You gotta wait to get them to
That's the
school.
question I'm dying to know.
Yeah.
So why did you come to the Range Rover?
That is a superficial, materialistic thing that I want. And I used to be an au pair when I was younger, and the woman that I worked for was not a very nice, rich woman. And she had a Range Rover. So that's an ego thing to just say. No, I want to. I don't. I don't want to be a non-nice rich woman. I want to be like, I am not as low as you said I was. I could be just in that.
So is that
It was
your
not-
monster?
That's
Yes.
my monster, yes.
Is there any option to that?
Huh?
Is there any functionality?
No, that's why I said it's not even like I would even just rent one for a day and drive.
Drive to her
In
house.
front of her house? Yeah. Just to clean. Yeah.
You see how this is working?
So I think
Yeah.
even deeper. So where is this woman now? Do you have access to her?
Yeah, she still lives in the same house.
And do you ever talk
Keep
to
your
her?
house.
I talk to her son still because he's, yeah. I never totally left his life.
So wouldn't that be one of those really difficult conversations to see if you could offer this to her?
I just want to drive by her house in the Range Rover. I don't want to talk to her.
So we're push ourselves beyond whatever and say you just said it. You're trying to prove something. How about instead having the empathy and showing her what they're
Sounds like a not nice person.
Doesn't matter. That's all you need. That's all you need.
That's a story you can tell yourself. Maybe there was some reason for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really care.
So why don't we give her a hand? So when we're doing this, we want to make sure that you're doing this on a structured time. So we do our maps with coaches, right? The map is sort of a structural tension chart altogether with action steps, everything like that, right? But you want to make sure that they know where they're at so they know where they're going. Because nobody's going to be able to get there if they can't even tell you where they're currently at, okay? If they're not being honest with themselves and their business and their mind and their thinking of what they want for the business, this will never work. So same thing up here. You can't project what you want onto them just because that's what you want. You have to dig deeper to get them to move from that problematic outcome to that the problematic orientation to the outcome orientation. We need to get them to move from one side to the other. So by doing this over and over, you're going to see coaches where their own intrinsic motivation is going to be sparked, okay? So we really need to do that to bring out what they want to create up here. It's always good to put a time frame up here too, and this is a time frame, but by when do they want this? So they're moving forward, and you put some dates on these events right here. But getting clear with what they want, because a lot of coaches, they'll tell you, oh, I want to have a house. I want to have a Range Rover. When we just found out that, hey, the Range Rover is not really a big deal. It just sounds kind of cool, right? But a lot of times they're going to tell you what they think you want to hear. They come into this business and they see somebody like Jamil Frazier or Justin Avini talking to them, and their first thought is, oh, they're making a lot of money. I got to impress them. I want to make $25,000 a month. And then they go out first month, $2,000, then they disappear because they never really truly got it. They were just trying to impress it. Their wants really weren't what they wanted. It was just something that they sounded good at the time.
I have a question about that, because when we're talking more about letting go of the ego to be able to care more about someone else, in order to do this is very structured. I'm not very structured. So when I help people, even my coaches, they also have asked me about the structure, because everybody wants financial freedom. Right. That number is different for everyone. So to be very clear about not just putting, you say 10 EDs, because everyone gets excited about 10 EDs, but how do you get to the why being more about the intrinsic thing than the ego of the money or the car? Do you understand my question?
Yeah, how do you think we get that?
Oh, obviously I don't have the answer for myself. I know. Well, obviously I don't have the answer for myself, so I think. Well,
if you could
guess.
You could guess.
Well, I've asked the coach I was mentoring about the questions for herself. So for myself, if I was asking me the same thing, it just seems so separate. The why is the intrinsic motivation about the things you really care about, and I can get to that for myself. I have trouble making that into the business details of the money and the brain. Like they're not working together. The why of being a healthy person, the why of feeling good, the why of helping other people isn't going to fit into the structural tension chart of the exact details of money and business.
It's your business though, right? Does it have to fit into this chart?
I'm still trying to put that round in the square. I'm trying to put Sherry's thing in Jamil's hole, and it's not working.
I just want to say to everybody who laughed was in the wrong mindset.
But you're trying to put my ideas into Jamil's model of the business.
But I think you're actually being too specific about this particular thing. If you're intrinsically motivating somebody on the money, then you can find the how later with is where the business would be. They did an example here, but there's going to be a breakdown of why the 10 EDs bring out to a certain income per month to allow her to have a certain house, home, daycare, special class, or schools for her kids.
Yeah.
This is just like an overlay.
Isn't this
So
kind of what we do with our clients?
yeah, it's the same.
Why does 80 pounds matter? It's the same thing. Why does $18,000 a month matter? So I can wear a bikini. Well, what does that really mean? You want to wear the bikini? Why do you want to wear the bikini? I went from wearing a bikini to not wanting to be intimate with her husband. That had nothing to do with the bikini. That $18,000 represents what she wants from it.
And it may change too. That's just that's a month to month.
Yeah, because if we're doing this structurally and coaching structurally, we should be having these conversations every month, because this changes all the time. The current reality is always changing depending on what we're talking about, right? So it's always good to do this at a specific time of the month, or set something every month to reconnect with your coaches, because then this, this is what's going to start to develop. They're going to start getting closer as we do this, and then boom, the own intrinsic motivation comes flying through. You just need to do this with as many coaches as you can. And then the ones that take it, they run with it, because you didn't hear Justin saying, hey, I created this grand old vision of what I wanted to do, or Jamil, hey, I want to change the world now. Like, you didn't hear that in the beginning. He wanted to help his family. He wanted money in his pockets. He wanted to keep his family together. Over time, doing exercises like this, being exposed to our community, being exposed to our culture, boom, it shot up. But we have to be structured enough to be able to guide them there as their mentors, sometimes say things they don't like, but get them there to where that opportunity can blossom within. All right.
Can I have one more question before we do this? Because I just have a thought that comes to me while we're talking about this. You know what it is?
Go for it.
Ask the question. Ask away. So I'm trying to get there. So I know that there is some bigger ideas about goal setting out there. Maybe you read somebody like Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy. There's all kinds of people. And there's this concept of we want a lot of things. So let's put a number on that, say 100 things. But in reality, our life is really only going to have us focusing on the top 20%. And so my question is, all these things that we put into this, if we're in a very specific conversation, but when they walk away from this, it may be that they realize there are a lot of other things that start taking a priority over this. And so sometimes I find there's where I come back to the conversations later to see if people are, whether it's just, let's say, a client, to make it simple. They want to lose all this weight. They have all this great idea. They have, maybe intimacy, whatever. But to them, it's also more important to go out every week and have drinks with their friends. And that becomes in the 1 to 20, and this one goes to 21. And so my struggle is always, well, I could see that I would make that 21 up in my top 20, but they haven't or don't. And I think that that's what I try to figure out, is how to see that these things are important to have the financial freedom to, as a coach, to how are we having that conversation?
So I believe if you're listening to where you're coming from, though, it's ego, right? Because you're thinking more about what you would want, projecting. I mean, who says that them not having drinks with their friends, if that's what they want, that's what they want. That's what they want. You get them what they want, not what you want or not what we see. Hey, but we are Optavia. We are about optimal life. If that's what they want, that's what you help somebody get what they want out of this company. It's not, let me put them into a box and let them do the diet, or let them help their mind or their finances. It's what they want. I know we've all seen health coaches, leaders in our business that don't necessarily have the healthy body, right? They don't. You can look at the higher levels. You can look at, what was the guy's name that ran Medifast before? Mike. He was a big guy, right? Or even right now, Jeremy, little bigger. I mean, he's a little heavier. No, I'm not. I'm just. No. I'm just trying to say that there's whatever they want out of this is what we give them. That's what we're here for, is to help them get what they want. We know what our program has to offer, and we show them the different offerings, but it's what they want.
We get hung up on more of wanting it more for them.
Yeah, we want it more for them. And hey, this is what you should want. Based on what you told me, here's what I hear. But we all know speaking and actions are completely different things.
And that's the reality. Like you say, reality, that's not what they want. That's not what they want. They want the drinking over the program. So when you say, well, this person really wants this, they're going to sign up. No, they don't really want it. They would have signed up. That's the reality. You know what I mean? So, or this person really wants this. Like I heard Jamil's side comment. She's like, I want the Range Rover in the house. He's like, we'll see. It's true. Not to pick on you, but that's a reality. We'll see. I want to quit my job. I sure as hell wanted to quit my job. I did it. We didn't see, we saw. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing is like, so when you say, well, no, they really want this. They told me. What did they tell you? Don't listen to what people say. Watch what they do. And that's it.
Well, ask them again. Is that what you want? Remind, like.
And there's a certain guideline to that too, and off the hook. A certain one.
Right.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, guys.
Good stuff, huh? So, Dom, where can they find this information and how to start to get better with structural coaching?
Dr. A's Habits of Health.
Or Simple
Chapter 3,
Systems.
Chapter 4, Dr. A's Habits of Health. It's talking a lot about the healthy body, though, but nonlinear thinking. Hey, how can I use this towards my business?
Or a personal relationship.
Yeah, personal relationship.
And also, I heard Simple Systems, workbook lesson, I think 6. I think that was Carrie. Wasn't that your 5 and 6, right? Did you do it?
Yes.
Yeah, right. That was her homework assignment. And Nicole,
I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
I actually have it printed from, I think it's from Simple Systems. And on the right-hand side, it says second level chart question mark with a bunch of boxes. What is that for? I don't ask what you think it's for because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Yeah, that is a good question.
I don't know.
Can you call Dr. A right now? Timelines.
Second level charts. I'm not sure. I know how to keep it really simple, and I'll show you guys. So, questions about this. Gosh, Don did such a beautiful job on this. So, how do you help them define what their goals and desires are? It comes down to, you remember I showed you guys the diaphragm on the last chart about working on a one-to-one ratio as opposed to having a sponsor mindset. So what that requires, why a lot of people won't do this, requires different skill set. And the biggest skill sets are leadership for sure, but also asking questions is another skill set. So listening and asking questions. So this is how you can help a coach really define what their desired outcomes are, is by asking questions. So like, for example, with Amy, she says she wanted the house. So the next question would be what?
What kind of house? Where?
Why do you want the house?
Yeah, when? When? Why is that important to you? How long y'all been thinking about it, right? And she says, well, to give our family a little bit more room or space, or whatever she says. What's your next question?
How much space?
How much space? Why is that important to you? How would that make you feel? Right? And she says, it made me feel like I finally accomplished something. What's your next question? Why? Why does that make you feel like you finally accomplished something? What does that get for you? How does that drive you? How does that motivate you? And then we're going to get to the nitty gritty as to why moving into that house is actually important for them. We're going to get to the true why. We're going to get to the fundamental reason. Very important. So we've gotten decent with doing this with our clients, but we are business coaches. This is what this whole training is about. We have to make that shift. So even when I hear about the examples that we're bringing up right now, a lot of the examples still talking about clients. It tells me we haven't made the shift in our mentality. Does that make sense? So we get to that number. So now I say, well, now Amy, she wants the house. So I'm saying, well, Amy, how much money do you think you'll need to purchase that house? And she says, how much, Amy? For a down payment, whatever. Let's just call it $80,000. Okay, and I'll say, well, what have y'all's game plan been? How much do you have already dedicated for that 80 grand? Well, we don't have much. Okay, well, how much would you like to dedicate per month if you could? $2,000. Fine, it's $2,000 per month. Why 2,000? Whatever, she might give me her answer. Okay, cool. So, have you thought about when y'all wanted to purchase that house? Yeah, 3 years. Okay. So 3 years, we're going to have to, so if she puts away $2,000 per month, right, at the end of that year, what is that? 24,000.
72.
So she's going to be pretty darn close, right? At the end of 3 years? Okay. So now I know, now I go to the next thing. Amy, what's really important for you guys while you're laying down on your bed and you're thinking about how you want your life to be, what does that look like? She says, well, I've always wanted to put my kids in private school. My next question is what? Why? Yeah, and she tells me, my next question is what?
Why is that important?
She tells me, my next question is what?
Why?
She tells me, my next question is what? Why? If you don't do it, then what? How would that make you feel? How's that going to impact your life? What if you never do that? So Amy, how much is it going to cost for us to put these kids into private school per month? Okay.
It costs $9,000 a year.
$9,000 a year. So that's
And $3,200
what, like
for my daughter.
$3,200 a year?
For her, yeah.
Okay, great. So per month, that's what? About 1,000 a month? Okay. Would you like for coaching to take over that $1,000 per month? Why? See what I'm saying? Now I'm going to figure out why. I just naturally, I didn't even think about it. My next question was, why? So we're going to get to the nitty gritty, and let's just say we need an extra $1,000 a month. Okay? So already I know, what does Amy need to become to earn $3,000 a month in this business? At least what? Okay, so when I tell Amy we're going to need to bring on about 24 clients and a couple coaches, why is she going to do this? Because it falls in line with what she wants. See what I'm saying? I can do this all day long and get these numbers here to where she's going to want to become a presidential director. Does it make sense? Okay, now, next question. So, Amy, these are things you really want to do. Yes. Why? Okay, we got that figured out. Now, Amy, how's it going to make you feel if you never do this?
You want me to actually?
Mm-hmm.
Bad.
So we can dig into that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can dig into it. And so I'm going to say, so this sounds like this is something that you really want? Okay. So we're here. This is your current reality. These are the things you really want. Are you willing to work for this? Yeah. Okay. So now, Amy, we're going to come up with some action steps for you. And so now we're going to be very specific on action steps. So if I say three-way calls, that tells me nothing. If she says pop the question, it tells me nothing. If she says get the word out, it tells me nothing. Actions are always based on numbers, and your numbers never lie. Your numbers will always tell you where you're at. So if you're 250 pounds and you want to be 180, what's the numbers telling you?
70.
Okay. If you earn $5,000 a month and you spend $6,000 a month, so now you're negative $1,000 a month, what is that number telling you?
You're married to Michelle.
Yeah, but remember, that's what we call below the line, right? So above the line, we take responsibility and we say it's my fault. Everything that happens to us or doesn't happen to us is whose fault? Ours. That's called conscious leadership. So this number is telling you what? It's a terrible decision. And what happens if you keep making terrible decisions every single month?
That stress is going to go
Through the roof. You're probably going to put on more weight, be yelling at the kids, marriage will start falling apart. Numbers, they don't lie. So the action steps is three-way calls. Well, how many? So how many, Amy, three-way calls do you want to do per week?
Three-way calls, as in get the word out.
What does it mean to you?
I want to do at least 10 a day.
So let's define what sort of calls you're doing. So when you say 10 a day doing what exactly?
I 10 a day, I want to reach out to 10 people a day, and that's getting the word out. That's sharing my story.
Perfect. So you want to make 10 getting the word out calls per day. Okay. I think that's what we got here. So 10. Great. So that's perfect. So that's not really a three-way call because that's just you and another person, right?
You're talking explore calls?
So explore calls, you don't need your mentor for that anymore, do you?
No.
So then that would just be an explore call. So how many explore calls would you like to do per week?
Per week. I would like to do 3 to 5 a week.
Specific.
Oh, you
3 to
want-
5
I'm
tells me
gonna say
nothing.
5.
Okay. So 5 explore calls per week. Perfect. So 5-1, your Facebook was one that we have down there. So how many times per week or per day, what's your game plan going to be with how you're working Facebook?
To do the 5 and 1?
Yeah.
So I want
So
to post,
are you 5-1 in your Facebook per day?
that is my goal.
Okay. So we're going to have 5 basically living out loud posts and then 1 before and after is what I'm hearing. And you're going to do this every single day.
That's my goal. That's what I want to do.
Okay. So how many days a week are you doing this?
That would be 7 days.
7 days a week. Okay. 5-1 Facebook, 7 days. Perfect. So you see how this is now starting to build? Now we're starting to be honest. So we could do this all day long. So my question would be, Amy, if we did these things every day, what would we move from our current reality up to your desired goals of buying a house in the next 3 years, putting your kids in private school because it makes you feel the ways you want to feel? If we start to do these, will it eventually get us here? Yeah, it has to. It's not like I hope. It has to. This is why you can do a structural tension chart with anything. You want your marriage to get better? Start with your current reality. Where are you at? We fight every day. We don't see eye to eye. There's lack of communication. What do you want? What do you really want? In between, action steps. Every day I might leave her a Post-it note. I might text her I love her. I might, set some family time apart. And if I do that consistently, guess what will have to happen? I have a better marriage. I can do this for anything. So next question is, Amy, these are things you want to do, right? Very important question. Amy, what are you willing to give up to have this happen? And this is where people go wrong. Because they think that they can do the same things every day and still be able to have this happen. And that is called delusion. So Amy, what are you willing to give up? So do you think I could have done what I've done without giving some things up? So Craig's going to talk about delayed gratification. And people that work on one-to-one ratios don't understand what that is. And so he's going to talk about it, so am I. So what are you willing to give up? What are you doing right now? What are some of the things that's going on in your life that you can see that's getting in the way of making these things happen? What are you willing to give up?
Well, I'm gonna have to be willing to let my kids go to grandma's house sometimes,
Okay.
so I can spend time and focus.
And how do you feel about that?
That's all with grandma.
That was honest.
Yeah, it's honest. Right. Okay. So what else?
Well, you're gonna have to. I'm gonna want to just give up me time.
What does that mean?
Well, I like to just have my time meeting or just, solidarity. And I feel like as nice as that is, I'm going to have to give up that. I don't know, does that make sense?
It could. Does it make sense to you?
It makes sense to me in my head. Yeah,
Okay.
I like to just, when the kids are napping, read a book or.
Right. So as a mentor, right, do we want to build teams? My next question is that action helping you get here?
Why I want to give it up.
Okay, perfect. So so with that time, you can do some of these things, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. What else are you willing or going to have to move aside? Maybe for a short amount of time, but who knows?
Well,
Right? The word is until you get the things that you
for a
really want.
season. For multiple seasons.
Possibly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay.
I've already had the discussion.
So great. Last question. Amy,
What?
I'm your coach. I love you. I care about your success. Now, if for some reason you are not doing what you tell me you want to do,
Mhm.
how do you want me to respond?
The only way to know would.
What way is going to help you?
I guess the only way that's going to make me unfriend you on Facebook.
What does that mean?
Tough love.
What's tough love?
Tough love. Remind me of my goals.
How do you want me to remind you? It's important, as this is mentoring.
Yeah. The picture.
Is that going to help you?
Yeah.
Is it?
Doing this. Making me uncomfortable.
So I cannot make anyone feel one way or another, right? You interpret, you interpret whatever you feel right now, and then you feel that. So we cannot make anyone angry or happy or sad or uncomfortable. They interpret it, they create a story, and then they attach emotions to it, and that's how they feel. So this is how to help someone build structural tension. The great thing about structural tension, why I love it, why I fell in love with studying it, is it does not care about emotions, okay? So if you wake up one day and you're really tired, having structural tension doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're angry. It doesn't care if you feel too bloated. It doesn't care. Because fact of the matter is, these action steps have to get done if those are the things that we really desire, okay? And what I see happens to my organizations, the coaches around this company, the people in general as I study them, is they are in delusion land, and they think that they can keep going to the river. They think that they can keep going on these trips and stuff like that every single weekend. They think that they can, whatever it is that they do, and they think they'll be able to hit these goals, and they won't. And because of cognitive dissonance, their brain doesn't want them to feel crappy, and so what they'll do is change this goal, and their brain will convince them that they're not good enough to have the things that they actually want. This is why we don't have enough leaders in this organization right now. It's delusion and it's dissonance. Does this make sense here? Okay, so I told you, change your thoughts, change your business, change your life. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, so,
I have a question.
yes.
Just an example about having a new senior coach a month. The numbers have always been 10, 10, 10, because that's what you needed to do, because you quit your job and it needed to be strong, big 10 a day. So to have a new senior coach a month isn't huge, astronomical, gotta do 10, 10, 10. But is there a formula for that? That would be more, like if I have a new coach come on, like really be duplicatable and really more consistent instead of so many crazy ideas where I'm gonna go balls out for 5 weeks and then not enough for the next 5 weeks, but it's not, so to really be duplicatable, to really train new coaches and for me to be doing that, is there a little more?
Is there a formula? So, the formula is, so you guys know what makes coaches successful in this company.
And we do a structural pinch numbers. We have no senior coaches coming on every month. And we want one senior coach every month.
Oh, well, it's very easy. So what the formula is going to be different, Sherry, for everyone, particularly because in this business to be successful, you only really need 3 things. And that's increased skills. This is why it's going to be different. Some people will come in with very high level skills. So when you have like a Dan Valentine that comes in, the skill set is very high from the very beginning. So skills, actions, concepts. Okay? So the formula will be different because their skills, their actions, and their concepts are different. So skills are very easy. This is when I finally got on that 3-way call with Karen, my skills were not very good. And so she heard that my skills were not very good, and she was able to help me switch my skills a little bit, okay? Actions, no one's ever had to inspire me to get into action. Why? Because I'm always in touch with the things that I want for my family. And now it's become global. I'm always in touch with how I want to show up in the world and how I want to impact the world. So that's why I'm inspired to get into action every single day. Becky doesn't have to call me and say, hey, how many people did you talk to today? I do that because I'm intrinsically motivated. The best sort of motivation is internal motivation. You motivate yourself, stop waiting for people to come and light a fire underneath you. So like a Dan Valentine has a tremendous amount of action because he's very, very motivated. And concepts is probably the #1 thing that holds people back. This is why we had Karen start out with red light versus green light thinking, because concepts is the way you choose to think. This is the way you think, like Jesse said, well, I may not be able to do, I may not be a good mentor because I don't know how to lead people. Or, what did you say?
I said,
he said something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's called stinking. That's called stinking thinking, right? Yeah. It's called limiting beliefs. That's called stinking thinking. So if I want to bring on a whole bunch of senior coaches, I'm gonna have to start with bringing on a lot of coaches, right? So first of all, my concepts are gonna have to be very strong. So what's my thought process when I wake up every single morning? Yeah. What are some other thoughts if I want to bring on a lot of coaches that I have when I wake up? Everybody needs me. Everybody needs. I'm amazing. I can't wait until they know what I know. What are some other ones?
Someone's life is going to change.
Somebody's life is about to change because of me. That's been mine for a lot of years. So when I wake up on a mission and I have really good concepts. that I know that people want to join. It's not a question. Like, they have to. It only makes sense. I know there's so many smart people out there. Why wouldn't you want to come do this? So those are my concepts. Now my actions, and this is where we're talking about the formula, it's just I ask myself, what do I want to do? So how many people per day do I want to engage with to have coaching conversations? So that number doesn't have to be my number, Sherry. It could be your number. The number can be 1, it could be 3, it could be 5, it could be 10. So let me give you a hint. Write this down. The number doesn't matter. What matters? Consistency. The consistency. But if I have stinking thinking, what do you think that's going to do to my actions?
It's very inconsistent.
Very inconsistent. And guess what's going to happen to these coaches I want to bring up? Not going to happen. And then, if that's not happening, you think I'll ever reach that desired outcome? And what do you think my brain is going to start doing because I'm not reaching my goals?
Create a story.
It's going to create a story. I'm going to lower my goals. I'm going to say this wasn't meant for me. I'm not a great coach. I can't build a huge business. I can't really have freedom, right? I'm just a mom. I'm just a dad. I'm just an accountant. Your brain's going to do that because it's trying to protect you. And you created your own suffering. So the number is, just put a number on it. 3 people a day. I'm engaging, talking about coaching. Asking them, are you open to exploring this more? That's how easy it is. So the skills, guess how your skills get better? Practice. How do you practice? You do it with more people. So the very successful coaches, what do you think they do? They learn to have really good thinking. They're constantly in actions, and that gives them really good skills. That's it. That's it. Isn't this easy? This is easy, guys. This is easy. So we got that. So the formula is decide how many people you're going to talk to, partner with your support teams, go talk to them every day, have extremely great thinking, right? And then your skills naturally get better. That's the only thing that's happened to me. And Karen did a great job. Karen and Kim, I used to be so pissed at them. I got so mad. Oh my gosh. Why aren't you doing this for me? If you would just mentor my coaches. Remember that, Becky? Remember my first Sundance I went to. I was so upset. If you would just mentor my coaches, I would be successful. Okay. So we're almost, you guys still hanging in there?
Yeah.
Is this okay? Is it worth the time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to have Craig come up. You guys know Craig. He's obviously done very well for himself over the years. He's a great business mind. He's mentored me and in investing and how to start seeing the world differently, not from an employee mindset, but from a business owner's mindset. So he's going to take us through practical tools that we can use now that we've decided and we understand we're the CEOs of our own businesses, right? So give it up for Craig. Yeah.
Earlier, you made a comment that you wanted the word as leaders.
Right.
What is your, and just wondering, what is your definition of a leader?
Yeah, so I talked about conscious leadership, right? So conscious leadership to me is someone that understands they can control whatever story they decide they want for themselves. And then they get so good at it that it becomes a mission to now give it away. Okay? So for me, when I look at, I think that every single person has an ability to be a leader. I believe that as soon as we start, I believe you're leaders right now. I believe that as soon as you start on a 5 and 1, you're a leader. You're probably going to inspire someone else to come behind you and want to do it as well. If we coach one client, we're a leader. If we coach one coach, we're a leader. Now, there are advanced stages to leadership. So I want us to get to an advanced stage, which is conscious leadership. And so typically, that will really start to show up as we're advancing our businesses. We're no longer thinking in a linear one-to-one ratio or have a sponsoring mindset. We're doing everything that we see here, and it just makes sense. We're no longer having red light thinking. We're no longer having stinking thinking. And we understand that we're freaking amazing, and we can go change the complexity of this world if we go in and stop toe dipping.
Right, toe dipping.
Yes.
All right, toe dipping. So guys, I'm going to be brief on this. I know you guys have been sitting here a long time and probably getting a little hungry, so we have some great stuff for you to eat. But, you know, when Jamil and I were talking about this, you know, we wanted to bring the leaders together because ultimately, who's the most important person in your business? You guys are, absolutely. And so the thing is that you've got to be that entrepreneur. You have to have that entrepreneur mindset. Now, a lot of times, unfortunately, people get in for $200, and a lot of times they treat the business like it's a $200 business, right? Because it just, hey, it's only, my investment was only $200. If they had put $200,000 into it, and think about your coaches right now. If each one of them had put $200,000 into their,
are you
okay?
He's got Jamil did that yesterday, right? Yeah. You all right?
Okay. Oh.
It's gonna be so
Sliding
weird.
glass
Your
door.
windows are too clean.
You need stickers.
Yeah,
exactly.
You need to fire your yes. That was Eric.
Wow. Okay. Getting back to it. For those of you that are watching on the, we just had somebody run into the sliding glass door. So, is she okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a good
all right. So the question is this, guys: if it wasn't $200, but it was $200,000, okay, would the coaches you have, would their actions be different? How many of you would say yes? Okay, almost everybody in the room. The question is, are you doing the same? Are you treating your business as though you've invested $200,000 into it? And a lot of us have not. Okay, that's you have somebody like Jamil, Justin, they just take off right away. They see it and their actions and no matter what's going on in their life, they don't allow that to change the actions that they're putting into the business because they treated it like a multi-million-dollar business. And guess what, guys? They have multi-million-dollar businesses. From a business standpoint, you know, we have Pacific Coast Highway right over by our house. Most of the businesses on Pacific Coast Highway, okay, excluding, let's say, the large national franchise businesses on Pacific Coast Highway, none of them do the business that Becky, Karen, or Jamil's business does. And they do it from their house. And yet, again, we treat it like a hobby when it can be so much more than that. And so I kind of wanted to talk about traditional businesses versus a network marketing business and the benefits of those, okay? Because it's important that you understand it for yourself, but also when you're engaging and talking with your coaches as well, that you can convey that to them, okay? So, show of hands, how many people right now are actually have their own business outside of a network marketing business? Anybody? Okay, two. Let me ask you, what do you see the difference in the two?
For me?
Yeah. Go ahead first.
Well, I just run my own little side photography business, so
Okay.
I got myself.
How much was your cost of all of your camera equipment?
Oh, which time?
How much inventory do you have?
I would say I probably easily spend somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 just having to get to replace things and upgrade. And memory cards break all the time, and you need those. And then there's the packaging from the USBs and
So small
and
business,
the cards,
5,
yeah.
10 grand.
And that's just a rough estimate, and not the last time I'll spend that money.
Right. Do you have any employees?
No.
Just you.
Just
What about yourself? What business do you have?
It's entrepreneurship and financial literacy simulation.
Okay. Okay. Have you had to?
Software development.
So do you have capitalization? You're putting money into it?
Yes, I'm in marketing.
Yeah. Just ballpark. How much money have you had to put into a traditional business so far?
I have partners that are over the past 5 years, probably 20,000.
20,000. Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right. 20,000, 5 to 10,000. Do either one of those businesses have potential of this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe software. Maybe it does. Yeah. But for most businesses, it. So I'll give you a little bit of background on me. So my partner and I started Camelot Appraisal Group back in early 2000. I actually I've been in the real estate industry for 30 years. I actually was in the title insurance business as a sales rep and employee, okay? And then I decided, you know what, I didn't want a boss. So I decided to get out and start my own business. And we started it, and you know what, it was great guns. You're making tons and tons of money until the economy came along, okay? Because so many businesses are in direct relationship to the economy, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right. And real estate appraisal business is one of them. Okay. But take this business. Think about this. When times are tough, people are looking for something else. This business actually grows during tough times. Did you guys know that? Absolutely. So what are the benefits of our business? Because I want you guys to participate. Okay. Nick, what's one of the benefits that we have as a home-based business?
Tax benefits.
Tax benefits. That's exactly right. In fact, I'm going to get into that in a little bit because people don't realize so many of you, out of a group of 30 people, only 2 of you are self-employed. So most of you have been employees, and you don't realize the benefits that you have now as a entrepreneur. Okay. So what other benefits are there?
No merchandise.
No merchandise. Exactly right. That's good. I was in the service industry. I didn't have to have merchandise, but you know what? I had a ton of insurance. I had the E&O insurance and just other things, and then we had 12 people working for us. It was not fun. Okay, I lost a lot of my hair that way. What else?
Time freedom.
Well, you get paid full commission whether you buy the product or you don't.
Right. Okay. Absolutely. Okay, that's a good one. Anybody else?
I don't have to pay for childcare.
You don't have to pay childcare. Okay, because you're a stay-at-home.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's huge because with 2 kids, it's probably around $2,000 to $2,500 a month for childcare.
Right. Okay. Isn't for those who are employees? How many of the employees love what they're doing right now? No, you are self-employed.
I'm an employee.
You're just making it difficult for me, aren't you? You just got to go have 3 jobs. You need this more than anything else, would you?
I love it.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good because you know what? I got to the point I was burnt out and I didn't. And there's a lot of people that don't. And that's one of the benefits that we have of this program is that you get to be self-employed. And what's the benefit of that? Well, you go ahead and you get to set your time and your hours. And like Jamil was talking about earlier, you just need to make a commitment somewhere, okay? If you're gonna go ahead and put 5 hours towards this per week, put 5 hours towards it a week. If it's 10 or 15 or whatever, okay, on your structural tension chart, you know, those are the things that you want. How you get there is gonna be based totally on what you're gonna willing to give up, okay?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like you were saying, who's happy with your job as an employee? A news article just came out a couple of days ago. I actually worked for the number 2 in the nation companies that want to work for.
Right.
But 99% of the people that work there don't. So it's just, you know, like you said, the employee is miserable and unhappy at what they do most of the time. Yes, on the outside world, it might look like they're at a great company or a great business. But when you actually get into it, most people are not happy. So.
My writing isn't as nice as Dom's. Okay. So maybe I should have another. Has anybody heard of the rule of 72?
Yes.
Do you know what the rule of 72 is? Okay. What is it to you? Yeah. It's all about compounding interest. okay? And what it says is this, is you take the interest rate that you currently are getting on an investment and divide it into 72. And that's how much money doubles, okay? So for example, let's say right now you've got a $1,000 to go ahead and invest somewhere, okay? And let's say right now, let's say we're just only getting 6% interest on this $1,000, okay? Whether it's a combination of a mutual fund and some passbook savings and whatnot. The market's been good.
Passbook?
Yeah.
You're dating yourself.
I guess I am. A CD, whatever it is. The point being is this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 6%. We're going to divide it into 72. And how many times does that go? 6 into 72 goes what? 12. So rule of 72. It doubles. So your first year of your $1,000 investment, okay, your $1,000, your first, it'll double what? In 12 years. Okay? So now you're still getting the 6%. It'll double again. What? To 4,000 in 24 years. This is just based on a $1,000 investment. All right? 8,000 in what? 36 years. Okay?
Balling.
Yeah. Ooh, excited about that. Now here's where people screw up. Okay? Because compounding interest can work for you or it can work against you. I didn't actually see this until I was taking an investment class and I was in my mid-30s because it's not being taught in school. Over here, you have a credit card with 18% interest rate. You've got $1,000 on your credit card and you're making minimum payments. Okay? So let's go. 18 into 72 is what? 4. So in 4 years, it's going to go to 2,000. 4 years. In 8 years, it's going to go to what? 4,000. In 12 years, it's going to what? 8,000. In 16 years, it goes to 16,000. In 20 years, it's going to $32,000 in 20 years. Take it one more. In 24 years, $64,000. When Jamil was talking about delayed gratification, that's how a lot of people create wealth, okay? It's not so much the money that you're making as much as what you do with the money, guys, okay? People are over here and they're funding their lifestyle and with their credit because they have that mentality that I want it and I want it now. And you've got plenty of national companies out there that are willing to give it to you now as well. But they're going to go ahead and charge this, 18%. What we as leaders have to do is we have to make sure that as we bring on coaches, that we guide them along the way as well. It's important that they realize that, hey, you know what? Just because now as a new ED and you're making $2,000 a month, you cannot spend all that $2,000 a month. 25% of it isn't yours. It's the government's. So what we need to do is not only open up a checking account, a separate checking account where our money is being deposited into the checking account, but we should open up a separate savings account as well and write a check over there. So if you're making $2,000, you're putting $500 over here. I also suggest when you get a new coach and you see that they're actually going and moving quickly, is to have them talk to their tax person, okay? Because that tax person is going to be the one that's going to represent them in case they, God forbid, have an IRS audit. And you want to make sure that they can go ahead and they can do because you'll hear all sorts of things about writing off food, okay? I don't write off food, okay? But you know what? There's some of you guys that I've seen posts where, oh yeah, I write off my food. Well, if your tax man's willing to represent you when you have an IRS audit, then that's okay. You go for that. But you know what? My tax man says no. It's your personal use. It's a red flag. And so I don't do it. But again, if you guys are business owners, you need to go ahead and make sure that you are following the program. Okay, we're all leaders here. All right. You're not putting into your lifestyle. All right. So, for example, we're coming up to a major function. I went to this function back in July of 2013 as a client. And why did I come as a client? Because I wanted to check it out. I figured if I was going to invest in my time into this business, then I want to make sure that it's real. Okay? If you were going to be buying a business, you'd probably hire an accountant or somebody to look at the business, right? I treat it like a business. So that's what we all have to do. So instead of eating your food through your Take Shape for Life checking account, okay, you should be taking that money and holding on to it for different functions. Whenever there's a function, guys, you need to be there, period, all right? That, you don't want to starve the baby. It's the most important thing if you're wanting a larger business. Justin, Jamil, have you ever missed a function? No, absolutely not.
Well, I missed one, but I was having a baby. That was kind of hard.
Yeah. So you just need to increase your commitment level just a little bit.
I did that though. Does that help?
Yeah. But it's
Plan
really
things a
important.
little better.
The thing is,
you have a baby.
That depends on who you're asking.
I love this quote from Albert Einstein, and it's this right here, guys. And it says, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. And it's so, so true. If you guys can learn to live below your means, okay, and be wise with your money, it'll work for you. You can go ahead and buy real estate. You can buy other things with your money, okay? I love Jamil. He's a perfect example of this, what I'm talking about. He reminds me of a younger me because, you know what? I was really tight-fisted with my money. And it got me through those hard times, okay? But don't be going out and leasing brand new cars. You're an executive director, make $2, $3, maybe a regional director, you're making $4,000, $5,000 a month. Don't do that, okay? Take that money and save it. Keep saving it, okay? And save it. I want to show you one other thing, and I'm not going to go through the whole stuff.
Leave that up there for me, Craig.
Well, I was going to use it.
Actually, okay, yeah, do whatever.
There's another board.
Okay.
Take a picture of it.
Yeah, I'll bring the other board here.
No, you can delete that, Craig. You can delete it.
Delete it.
Yes,
Try it first. Not be afraid to delete it. The right click and
It's not deleting. All right. It's really, really important, guys, that you talk to your coaches and get them set up for their taxes. That can be a really negative situation if you have a coach that starts making $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 a year and is putting into their lifestyle, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, you know what? I owe $16,000, $20,000, and they put it towards their lifestyle. So that's a real negative. Okay. Has anybody heard of a bell curve? You guys heard of bell curve? Okay, good. So bell curve kind of goes like this. Okay, and then it goes like this, and down. All right, over here we have time. Over here we have money. Generally, when you got a lot of time, you don't have much money. As you become more progressive and you are more productive and you work your way up, you have less time and you have more money. And so what happens is we generally peak somewhere, most Americans, it's in their 30s, late 30s, you know, you're not going to get too much more of a raise. What happens though is this, is we get to a point here. I'm approaching this point here where we start to retire. What happens when we retire? We have less money and more time, right? So, except for network marketing, right? It's a little different. But the challenge is this, guys, for everybody except for us who are building businesses, is there is another line right here. And it's called inflation index. Now, inflation's been fairly low, okay? What's going to happen, it affects us all over here. You know, when people are spending $4 or $5 for a box of cereal at the grocery store, inflation's affecting them. But where inflation's really going to affect you guys is right here. Because what's going to happen is if you don't build this business, you're going to have less money, okay? And your interest, okay, is going to get you right here. All right? Inflation. Inflation is going to get you right at this point here. Does that make sense? Do you understand? So how do we avoid this? We need to build a business. You know, like now, okay? Some of us sooner than others. But this is going to happen. This is why when Jamil, or Justin especially, was talking about, you know what? The healthy mind and the healthy finances section of this. You guys realize it's not just a weight loss program. When I went, one of my motivating reasons for going to a convention when I was a client was that Jamil was smart enough to bring me down to a San Diego training, and there was 3 doctors there, all right? And I asked one of those doctors afterwards, is this business inheritable? And he said, yes, it was. And that's why I flew out to Tennessee a month later to thoroughly check this business out. Because bottom line is this, I had a great real estate appraisal company doing business from Bakersfield down to San Diego. But my bell curve, it kind of looked like this, okay? Because it was so dependent on the economy. There's so many other people out there, they're successful, okay? But you know what? They don't have the cash flow. People have heard me say this before. You can be a millionaire on paper, all right? But cash is king. Cash flow is the best thing that you guys can absolutely have. And that's what this business provides, is cash flow. And the thing is for most people, okay, they're treating this business like it's a hobby because it only costs them $200 instead of $200,000. If literally Jamil could get $200,000 from you guys a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, in my case, 4 years ago, 200,000 from me, we'd have a bunch of more larger businesses here. We'd have a bunch of globals. We'd have more presidentials. We'd have many more. But because so many of us, and I'm putting myself in this category, it only was a $200 investment. Okay, it cost me $200. But honestly, the rewards are amazing because you have cash flow that can go beyond your grave. Do you understand what I mean? It's going beyond your grave. What Jamil's put together, Ezra is going to be able to go ahead and benefit from, and his grandkids or his kids as well, because it's ongoing residual. So the question is this, guys, and this is higher level leadership, is what are we all waiting for? Okay, let's really do this thing. Let's go ahead and treat this like it's a multi-million-dollar business, because it can be. It's just a matter of going ahead and deciding, hey, I want more than what I've got now. I can't see of any other better way. I mean, honestly, I've been in business for years and years and years. I really have never seen a better business opportunity than this. I really haven't, guys. You know, and I've been around a lot of successful, wealthy people, multi-millionaires who own real estate, gobs of real estate. But you know, the thing is this, is A lot of people now don't have the same opportunities as some of us that are older. Okay? Do you remember how much you paid for your first house?
I'm still in it.
Oh, how much did you pay for your first house?
105.
Okay, 105. Okay. I paid $60,000 for my first house. Okay? I was 20 years old and I paid $60,000. How much does your truck cost, Justin? 40. Yeah. That house now is worth about $600,000. 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 804 square feet. It's insane. It's insane, guys.
You put down 30,000 to assume the loan. Now you can't get a car for that.
Right? Yeah. So I just want to say, you know what? This really is the best opportunity out there for you guys to generate any type of wealth that you're looking to go ahead and accomplish. And I don't know, Jamil, is there anything that I was going to kind of go into, a little more, but it's just the best, guys. It really is. I mean, if something happens to you, you can leave it to your children, their grandchildren, but it has to be built first. That's the key. It has to be built first.
So you have to put it in the trust, or
how
do you do that?
I've got multiple trusts, but so you talk to your tax person. Again, all about your taxes. Don't be talking to your, fellow coaches, all right? Talk to the guy who would represent you if you had an IRS audit, okay? Doesn't that make sense? Absolutely. And then go with what he has to say, all right? All right, good.
Good stuff, huh? Good stuff. That's good stuff. One great thing about this business, honestly, is, we get a lot of stuff for free. You guys know that, right? Even what's going on right now. Free. Outside of a business like this, money. Lots of it. And we get it. Like, I think about years ago when Karen and Kim would spend all those hours with me. And then if we were to break down, if they had an hourly salary, right? If we were to break that down, how many hours a day they spend on their business as opposed to how much they earn per month. And I would be getting it for free. Amazing. Amazing. So one of the things, last thing, and we'll make this quick.
Thought you had a
Appreciate it, bro. So, like back in junior high school when you thought you were going to get that you asked a girl to go to the dance. So, Joy, you have one? Okay, everyone have one? Okay, so real fast, this is how we're going to close this out. Have you guys seen this before?
Yeah.
Who's seen this?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes. So this is Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. Who's familiar with it? Wow. We could just cut this out.
Hey, wait, what about us? Didn't raise your hand.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm just being honest over here.
Go talk to them. Hi, Charmaine.
Wow, we need the book.
Okay, so very important. So I'm going to explain this in a way that Robert's taught me, but also I'm going to explain it to how it relates to your business. Is that cool?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so basically, if you look at this, cash flow quadrant talks to you about the 4 different sorts of people that make up business. And there's...
She has her own opinion, is what you just said.
And what's interesting about business, there's generally 4 ways you start a business. You can buy one, right? You can have a franchise. You can have a network marketing business, and we're definitely a hybrid of it. So we're not a traditional network marketing business. but we certainly have components of it. Lots of different things that make us different than the traditional network marketing. One of the things is we're not a wholesale and buying club. This is why it's so fundamentally important to order your own fuelings through your coach. If you don't, then you start to ruin the whole context of what it is that we're doing that's here, right? Like, we're really fundamentally trying to set ourselves apart from all the other companies that are out there. So if we use this as a wholesale and buying club, then we're just another one of those guys, right? So that's one of the ways that we're much, much different. The other way is you can start a business from scratch, which is what Craig did. I tried to do it with some friends. And so those are generally the way. So there's four people that make up the business world. You have your E's, your S's, your B's, and your I's, as you see here. So your E's, guys, who are the E's?
Employees.
Employees. Okay. And the S's are
Self-employed.
Self-employed. And the B's, business owners, but not just business owners, big business owners. Okay? These self-employed people are business owners. They just think a heck of a lot different than these guys do. Okay? So I'll talk about that. And the I's are what? Your investors. So the E's are very important. So along with everybody that makes up the business world, they typically have different emotions, is what separates them. So we talked a lot about emotional intelligence, right? Delayed gratification is a form of emotional intelligence. Metacognition, being able to control your own thoughts, is a form of emotional intelligence. All of these four different people that make up this quadrant have different emotions. So, you know, employees, the typical emotions they have are fear. Okay, they have to have safety, they have to have comfort, and generally they're really, really scared. Okay, so you think about the majority of our country have been coerced into being employees. This is what our education system teaches our kids to do, to go get good grades so that they can go get a good what? That has benefits and safety, right? So the emotion here is fear. So when you bring in a coach that comes from this quadrant, guess what their emotions are generally going to be? Huh? Fear. So when you ask them to pick up the phone to go make a connection with someone, what's their emotions going to be?
Scared.
Huh? When you ask them to do something as simple as adding Facebook friends, what do you think their emotions are going to be? Because they've been conditioned to have safety and security. If you ask them to leave this job, what are they going to say? Huh? There's no way. If you talk to them about building a big business and maybe leaving that job, what are they going to say? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? It's scary. They're going to say, what about my... Okay? So their emotion is this here. Now, your S is your small business. This is what we are when we get our health coaching business. Okay? So your small business owners, the S can stand for a lot. A lot of times, your small business owners are people that want job satisfaction. So if they leave out of the E's, they'll become an S because now they have job satisfaction. They want to do what they love to do. So this is where you'll see your attorneys, your accountants, things like that. S also stands for specialist. S also stands for smart. S also stands for self-employed. But S also stands for selfish. Because these guys want to do everything on their own. So their emotion is fear, but it shows up a different sort of way. And it shows up that they have a hard time trusting. Okay? So this is a big emotion that they have, lack of trust. So when you have coaches that come in that fundamentally are self-starters, they're entrepreneurs at heart, They're smart. They've been successful in other areas. Guess what emotion they tend to have? They have a lack of what? So when you start saying, let's get on three-way calls, things like that, guess what they're going to have a hard time with? Trusting. Yeah. Guess what happens when you start talking to them about having a sponsoring mindset? Guess what these guys like to do?
Do it
all themselves. They'll have huge frontline volume, but where are the coaches? Because they have a hard time trusting processes, trusting systems, trusting people. They don't want to give any of it away because they have to do everything on their own. You understand that emotion? It's still fear, it just manifests itself a little bit of a different way. So these guys here, these are big business owners. So their emotion is patience. And this is why so few coaches will actually build big business, because they have a lack of what? These guys over here, they have to be gratified right away. So their gratification comes every what, 2 weeks? Do they get paid every 2 weeks? These guys work for money. These guys do not work for money, okay? Their biggest asset is patience. So this is why you see very few people build big businesses in this company, because they have to see success when? Now. And if they don't, what happens? The whole world's falling apart. They have very, very high emotional intelligence. So if these guys here, if they can't go on that trip right now, that's a problem. And you know these guys because they'll say, well, I'm going to charge you a certain amount, right? These guys say, I earn this much per hour. Okay? These guys know they're not going to get paid for years, maybe. They already know that going into it. So their emotions is patience. And these guys, their emotions is neutrality. They're neutral. They don't care what happens. If it's good, guess what's good? Everything's good. If it's bad, guess what that is? Everything's good. If the market tanks, guess what? That's good. If the market's doing great, guess what? It's good. It doesn't matter to me because I'm going to hedge what's happening to me. So, so we know that these guys are patient. We know that these guys, they don't really trust anyone. They have a lack of trust, and these guys are just really scared. They're scared of everything. You say, boo, they go running. This is why your coaches will come in, and you go, boo, they get scared. Client decides they don't want to be a client anymore. That's a boo. What do they do? They're gone, right? If somebody says your program has too much soy, what happens to them? They're gone. So these guys are very, very fearful. These guys here can be some of your toughest coaches that you mentor. This was me. I had a big, big hard time trusting anything. I knew it all. I've been successful before. I earned $112,000 a year before. I was clearly successful, right? Whoa, man. So I came in with this mindset. Very, very hard to trust. This is why it took me so long to start bringing on coaches too, because I want to do it all. I want to prove to you I'll go and have $18,000 in frontline volume. But I didn't want to give anything away. So these guys tend to be a little bit more selfish. So what's interesting in the business that you have is we start here. And why your business is so amazing is because you start here, but you can easily go here. So Forbes qualifies a big business is when you have anywhere from about 300 employees or above. So in our language, that means when your organization has about 300 coaches. Okay? So Karen, how many coaches would you say is in your organization right now? I would venture to say 900 to 1,000, or 900 to
I was
1,000.
gonna say around 900.
Yeah. So Karen has what?
Big business.
A big business. So here's a caveat. Most, it's amazing. So these guys, the problem is because they're so scared, guess what they're going to be doing forever? It's called working.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to retire at the age of 65, and guess what's not going to happen? They're probably not going to do it. And they're going to be working towards their own demise. And they don't even know it because they have lack of emotional intelligence and education, which is really crazy. Once I started to notice this, it didn't make sense for me, guys, not to go all into this business. The other trouble that's here is something that Craig talked about. You guys read that?
Yeah.
Taxes. So if you want to earn any sort of income and you want to have a ton to leave to your family, it's going to be hard to do it here. When you guys look at your pay stub, what's the first thing that's taken out of your check? Taxes. Can you do anything about it or much? Can you tell the IRS, hey, I don't want you to take that out this month? Every time you get paid, what gets taken out? Taxes. First thing. Here, taxes is the last thing that gets taken out. If you guys could just understand that, it doesn't make sense to me why somebody won't want to go all in with this business. You have very limited control here, and because of this fear, it shows up in so many other areas of your lives. In your relationship, even if you moved over from here to here, your investments are going to be out of fear. So this fear is going to permeate throughout your whole life. These guys here, lack of trust. So what we're going to help them do, this is why this business is so amazing, is they're going to have a coach that's going to help them change the way that they think from a small business, thinking only a one-to-one ratio. I have to do it all. That's too much work. These guys don't even have a job, they own a job. So guess what happens if they want to go on a 3-month vacation? What happens to that business? What happens? What happens to their income? Is there any freedom?
No.
Is there freedom here? If you have 900 to 1,000 coaches, is there freedom? What if you decide to go on a 3-month trip? Could you go? What do you think is going to happen to your income? Huh? That's called cash flow. This is what Craig was talking about. The most important word in business is cash flow. You don't want to be working hard for your money. You want your money to work hard for you. Okay? So these guys don't think correctly. These guys certainly don't think correctly. Now we're starting to think and we're creating freedom here. Karen.
Yes.
Okay. What happens if you decide you want to go to Greece for a month right now?
There we go.
Well, yeah.
What do you think?
Okay.
My business will continue to grow.
Yeah. Do you have would you need to worry? Would it be stressful? Would you be like, man, I wonder next month, like, if I'm going to have a paycheck?
No, in fact, ironically enough, when I travel,
You make
they are my best months. Clearly.
Do you guys understand the difference here? Are you seeing it? Do you see how you've been conditioned to think here and maybe even here? Do you see that? Do you see if you just went in, all in, how you could actually create freedom and get out of delusion? Do you see it? And then the #1 reason why you start a big business is so you can invest. And so this is why you don't see me. Could I drive a Range right now? Yeah. Could I go buy $1 million house right now if I wanted to? Yeah. Could I actually buy new clothes? Yeah. I got this shirt years ago. But I don't, because I have what we call delayed gratification. When you guys see me do #in due time, That in due time means 2021. Okay, because in 2021, I will be completely free. And it's not dependent on, I know that there's people that's out there that also want to be free. And all I got to do is move my mindset from here to here, wake up every single day, and go find it. So I do not work for money, okay? I work to build assets. Big difference. That's why I can never go back here. So while people are trading their time to earn dollars, I'm looking for assets every single day, either in coaches, executive director teams, or in real estate. It's the same thing. These guys will shop their consumers. So they'll shop, you open up their Apple laptops right now, and you probably open up to Amazon, and you see them shopping for clothes. These guys, you open up their Apple laptop, and you see them shopping for coaches and real estate. It's the same habit. They're still shopping, but they're shopping for things that's going to keep them here and take money out of their pocket, and I shop for things that's going to give me freedom. And so that's why you don't see me going to do, I told you when I did the structural tension chart, I said, what are you willing to give up to get those things? It's just a conscious decision, it's a choice. So do you want them or not? And so this is why it's so important to understand this. One, to understand what sort of coaches you're bringing in. So even here, it just makes sense that when we're looking for coaching partners, we want to look for people generally that's here. We can cultivate them and coach them to become here, or this is called high-hanging fruit here. So when we think, oh, they're very successful, they won't want to do this, it's called red light thinking. And honestly, you're making it harder for yourself. Because these guys, it's going to take them a long time. This is why this is patience right here. It's going to take these guys a long time to change the number one thing, which is how they think. Because they've been conditioned to think one way. They've been conditioned to think one way. And to have a business like Karen has, which is complete freedom, is your mind has to change. So it's going to take these guys a lot longer to actually get here. And then here is what Craig's talking about. Does that make sense? It's all about this right here. And where you put your time and your energy. These guys amaze me. They will go to work every single day, hours and hours and hours. And literally, at the end of the day, have nothing to show for it. And they think it's smart. Immediately, that business can decide to ship off to Japan, anywhere. They can get laid off. Every single time I talk, I say, how many of you guys know people that's been laid off in the last 5 years? Hands always go up. And yet, they think it's smart. It makes no sense. This is smart. Every single day, work for assets. You get freedom. More people are helped. Isn't the mission to help get America healthy, which has billions of people in it, right? So you think you can do that here or here by yourself with frontline volume? What do you have to do? You have to have a lot of people to help you. It's big business, and that's how you will get freedom. Does that make sense? So hopefully my intentions for this was to get us to start thinking different. We all got the ability. We all have the ability. There's no question about it. I do not understand why there's not more global directors running around. Conceptually, I understand it. We just went through it. But I don't understand why folks don't make the decision to go and do it. Why would you keep wasting time toe dipping to where in the next couple months, I'm not talking like 10 years, I'm talking months. In the next couple months, you can so easily move to here and here and be on the right side of things, not the wrong side. That's sort of I did a video, do we understand what we got? That's what today was about, was showing you, do you actually understand what you have? Because if you do, then either if we do, and I don't know, that's not for me to answer. But if we understood it, then my goodness, you can create so much freedom so stinking fast for you, for so many people around you, for legacies. When you die, people are still talking about you. Very hard to do that. So You guys have been awesome. We went over by about 40 minutes or so, but I hope it was helpful. Was it helpful?
Yes.
Okay. Was it valuable?
Yes.
Okay. Would you guys like to do more of these?
Yes.
So maybe finish it off with questions. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay. Well, y'all can ask questions while we eat. So, Craig, come here, please. I definitely want to thank Craig for opening up his home to us. And for all of the presenters, I know a couple of them had to leave, but I love those guys. And one of the reasons why it's so good to actually do these presentations is it forces you to become more. So Dominic right now, he has to study how to do that. It's going to force him to become a better mentor, right? And so, so really appreciative to them, to Amanda for cooking and everyone that helped prep the food. Thank you guys, and thank you guys for making a commitment to being here. And there's some decisions to be made now. Either we're going to continue to do what we're doing even after learning all this stuff, or we're going to decide to, go all in, which I hope that we do, because there's so many people like me that's out there. And they just need a bone to be thrown to them. They'll figure it out, right? The people that are supposed to be here will be here. Those that won't will leave. But at least they get the opportunity. And that's what we can give them. Then we can work with them. So thank you guys. Let's eat. Hopefully this was helpful. Appreciate you guys.
Beverages.